It's time. It is that time. Time for Stiles and Watkins.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140. Find us on YouTube at Sactown Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. On a Tuesday, Stiles and Watkins taking up to 2 p.m. Got Simone behind the glass with us today as we break down all things Kings, all things A's. We will see what happens with the A's today. Any announcements that may or may not come out, we will be all over it and let you know what the next steps are for the Oakland A's. Also, the men's and women's Final Four are all set, and it was a crazy night last night. Chris Watkins, how you doing?
Great, yeah, feeling good. There were some good games yesterday. Definitely lived up to the hype. At least that first game definitely did. And it's I don't know how to feel about today's Kings game. I'm both excited, nervous, scared. Just all of the emotions heading into tonight. Don't really know what to expect. Don't really know what we're gonna get. But it's definitely going to be a step closer towards finding the answer of how much hope, I guess, we should really be feeling down the stretch here. It definitely feels like a really big game tonight.
Yeah, and the thing about the Kings and Clippers, and when you beat a team like the Jazz, this feels like the first real test.
Exactly.
This feels like the first real test because it more so represents the type of teams that the Kings are going to be facing with these last 8 games versus only four more home games, 4 more away games. Feels like this season has flown by, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. It both feels like it's flown by and it feels like it's taken forever at the same time. But definitely now that we're at the end of it, I mean, it's counting down, right? There's 8 games left, and then after tonight there's 7, and then we're by the time we're talking next week, we're going to be saying there's 4 games left in the season, and so it moves fast this time of year. It's why we talked throughout the season of these guys dropping games, why it's so important in the middle of the season. It might not feel like it's that important, but in a time like right now, you really start to feel all of the times that you snuck games in your favor, but also the amount of times that you blew games. It all comes to a head at this point in the season, and all you can really do is play your best basketball and hope to stay healthy. And we've seen that. That's really what the Kings are dealing with right now. They're playing really well, especially on the defensive end, but these injuries have stacked up to something that, has kind of led to a lot of questions about how this team is going to perform the rest of the way. And then, how far can they even get without a guy like Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter in their lineup? Again, tonight is really the first true test that we have to see. All right, we've seen this Kings team step up and play really well against the best teams in the NBA all season long. Do they still have that punch in them?
Yeah, and we discussed yesterday as far as the wing issue that the Clippers represent, and we're not talking about fire wings here.
No.
We're talking about Kawhi Leonard.
They are some fire wings, though.
They are some fire wings. Lemon pepper shout out, but
on.
You're dealing with Paul George.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
And you're to the point now, Chris, where I know it might feel a little bit simplified, and we'll get into pocket watching a little bit later in the show, but you lose this game tonight meanwhile the Lakers are in the 6th. They do have to go to Toronto, but we know Toronto has just been very,
terrible.
Very bad. You start looking at this being a danger zone of the 9 seed or the 10 seed, which is crazy because as much as I think it feels confusing because we know that the Kings did trick off some games this season, but I don't know if most Kings fans feel like if you look at the season in a vacuum, it feels like they performed better than to be on the cusp of looking straight at the 9 seed in the face. Doesn't feel like they played that poorly, but that's just what the Western Conference was this season.
No, exactly. That's 100% what it is. You're right. Like the Kings have definitely, like you said, we can acknowledge that they've tricked off some games. Definitely there's been some disappointment in terms of, the offense this year hasn't looked like it has last year. And I would say overall, just the level of disappointment is definitely more this year than it was last year for expectations and tons of other reasons. But at the same time, it hasn't been that bad. Like they still are 12 games above 500. that feels like a team where, you definitely didn't capitalize on all the opportunities. And, you could probably say, hey, if we win these 3 or 4 games here, maybe we could have been a top 4 seed. But that doesn't necessarily mean that if that's the case, well, then you should be all the way at the bottom of the West.
Right.
Usually that means, okay, you're probably going to be a 7 seed. Maybe you could be a little frisky or maybe even a 6 seed and still have a first round upset. But because you're completely right. If the Kings lose tonight, Lakers win against Toronto, we're talking about pretty much they would be a half game above the Lakers. Yeah. And then looking at the Lakers schedule, they play the Wizards next. So there's an opportunity to maybe leapfrog the Kings. Then their schedule gets a bit harder. They end the season with Cavs, Wolves, Warriors, Grizzlies, Pelicans. So it's not the easiest strength of schedule at the end. We know the Kings have a tough schedule too, but you're starting to put yourself in that situation where we've been talking about. These are, on paper, these games are supposed to be easy wins, but we've seen that that's not always how it shakes out. And so, it just puts a lot of pressure to take care of what you're supposed to take care of and then, maybe sneak together a win that maybe you weren't supposed to get. And like we went through the schedule yesterday for the Kings probably aren't going to be favored in a lot of their matchups down the stretch here. So they're kind of fighting an uphill battle, and they cannot perform. You shouldn't be able to tell that they're missing Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter if they want to stay afloat above that 9, because you're right. The Lakers really are. It doesn't feel like it right now, but they are right on their heels, a game and a half back.
No, they are. And you're looking here as the Kings are about to kick off what's going to be a tough road ahead, because after this, that's when they go
on the road.
That's
right?
when they go on the road for that back-to-back we've literally been talking about for about 2 months now of the Knicks and the Celtics. Now, the Knicks aren't going to have OG Anunoby, who they did have when they faced off in Sacramento. But OG, we know what he does defensively. Offensively, he couldn't hit anything.
Trash, right?
So it's not as if they're going to be missing his offense in that way. But you're looking at a situation where if the Kings lose tonight and then the Lakers win, the Lakers, their next game is the Wizards. And then right after that, the Kings are starting that back-to-back on Thursday, where they're at Knicks, at Celtics. This could get pretty scary.
Yeah.
This could get pretty scary, especially looking at a Lakers team who you never even lost to.
Yeah, right.
This
that's
season.
Insane. That is,
you never even lost to them.
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's why it's so important to win your season series, because without that, even if the Kings split against the Lakers would have the season advantage right now. So that's why it's so important to win those games throughout the year. But it's really scary, because the difference of having 2 opportunities to make the playoffs, which you have with that 7-8, even if you lose that first game, you still have the fail-safe of that second matchup. If we're talking about, I think we mentioned this yesterday, but if we're talking about now the Kings being the 9 seed, and whoopee, you get a home game in that first play-in situation, but now you have to win 2 games. That's just a different proposal for this team that we've seen, even though they've played well against good teams, has been very inconsistent from night to night. It's just a really scary proposition in gotta have it games for this team to have to play well. As crazy as it sounds, 2 games in a row might be too many for this Kings team.
Basically, if you don't want to be in that 9 seed, you have to win 2 out of the next 3.
Yes.
If you lose 2 out of the next 3, you will be in the 9 seed, because the Lakers are not losing to the Raptors, and they're definitely not losing to the Wizards. I wouldn't think so. This is what the Lakers do, right? It's basically a microcosm of how LeBron plays games. He treats it like a boxer, head body, and he's sitting there waiting, rope-a-doping, and then he turns it on towards the end of the game. That's what they do in the season. Part of that is because of LeBron's age, and part of that is just the fact that that team isn't that good. But this is an issue, man, and I'm not trying to get too spicy here on the Top of Teal Tuesday, but you do have to ask the question, if you look around the other teams that are struggling to stay out of the play-in and things like that, not to do the off-season thing now, but heading into it when it's staring you in the face, and when there are people out there that think that you got leapfrogged by the T-Wolves. And I don't know about the T-Wolves, because they made a huge move, but you got leapfrogged by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yeah. The Grizzlies are going to be back next season. The Warriors are probably going to do something. The Lakers are probably going to do something. Can you honestly sit there and say that, I don't want to say nobody, but how can you say that nobody on the Kings team is untouchable
Yeah.
if your goal is to win a championship.
No, for
and
sure.
I'm not saying to move anybody, but the idea of somebody, and I know Luka, they're right there, so obviously a Luka Doncic would be untouchable. But besides one, maybe two guys, how can you say that when literally we just had a season where you underachieved? That's what's so scary about underachieving, because now you're looking and you're thinking, how can you say any of these guys can't be touched?
Well, I mean, we kind of talked about it with the Warriors, I think, last week, but it definitely applies to the Kings too. I don't even know how much I fully believe it for this exact situation, but I hate to say it, but that is one of the few perks, maybe you could say, of this team possibly falling out and having a spin out at the end of the year is it kind of forces you to face that reality that you're talking about, that, you know what, how can we say that people are off limits, or how can we say, you know, this is the core that's untouchable?
Right.
If you flame out at the end of the year, I think that realistically does make you say, look, we clearly need to change a lot of things around. Or maybe if it's not even a lot of things, but we need to make a significant move here so that we don't continue to slide back, so we don't continue to fall behind the rest of the pack. You know, that is, again, that's one of the very, very few perks of if this thing goes wrong, is it does make the Kings look in the mirror and say, we have to improve. I don't care how you feel about person X, Y, and Z. Every single stone needs to be turned over. Every single thing needs to be explored. And, you know, whatever happens, happens. It's not saying that the Kings are going to trade DeAaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis in the offseason, but it's, hey, if there is a unhappy superstar out there, maybe we need to kick the tires on her, or at least think about what that situation would look like for us.
There's no illusion. There's no illusion that this team is one piece or whatever pieces away, and you have to decide what is worth protecting. But maybe, and just maybe, you don't have that conversation if you do go on a hot streak here and you get to the second round and you convince some people. But if this thing goes south, and it's not going to be easy, but if this thing goes south, then there are going to be some tough conversations. But maybe you don't have to get there. If you beat guys and you beat some greats, okay, you beat a Kawhi Leonard, you beat a Paul George, you go out to Boston and you beat a Jason Tatum, you beat a Jalen Brunson. If you answer the question, you have 8 games to answer a lot of questions. And that's how we have to look at this thing. When we get back talking some women's college hoops, it was fire last night. And then we get back into some Kings talk. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Welcome to a brighter future with Aztec Solar, serving Sacramento since 1980. Everyone knows that solar saves money. How much? The answer is a few clicks away. Visit yourpowersavings.com. It's fast, easy, and reliable, giving you instant insight into your potential savings.
I used to pay $400 a month to the power company, and that $400 a month added up to $48,000 over the past 10 years. That all changed when I switched to solar with Aztec Solar.
Now it's your turn to stop overpaying for electricity. Calculate your solar savings right now at yourpowersavings.com. And Aztec Solar will email or text you how much you'll save every month. Plus, we've got an exclusive offer for you. Get your solar electrical system for just $9,995 cash price after incentives. Don't wait. This deal won't last forever. Visit yourpowersavings.com today and take the first step towards energy independence with Aztec Solar.
This segment is brought to you by Aztec Solar. Skip the sales pitch. Calculate your solar savings at yourpowersavings.com.
Clark, again coming off the screens. Clark steps back, fires. You bet! 7 since. Remember, she also injured her ankle. Here's Clark. Will she pull up? Finding a falter who lays it in.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Kaitlyn Clark doing her best, whoever you want to call it, impression.
Kaitlyn Clark impression.
I mean, that was just exactly what everybody was hoping for. And I mean, the timeline on social media, that has to be the best day in the, and look, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that feels like the best / most exciting day in the history of NCAA women's basketball, right? I mean,
last year's national title was pretty popular.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. And now I know people were mad at the committee because these games came in the Elite Eight, specifically the rematch of LSU and Iowa, but they did it right. They still got a lot out of it.
This is a lot better. You get a whole ramp up into the Final Four.
Yeah, they still got a lot out of it, and Kaitlyn Clark did not disappoint. She really did do her thing, and you sit there and you watch greatness, and that's exactly what it was. 41 points, and I'm sorry to Haley Van Lith, who got literally cooked on the timeline because she got cooked in the game.
Not her fault.
Not her fault. If anything, Kim Mulkey should have switched some things up. But just a great night for basketball. And I saw a lot of people say, I think Devin Booker's or somebody dropped 50 last night.
He did, yeah.
And nobody was talking about it.
Yeah.
Not one person.
No. Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, I always say that like greatness, the thing that really like sets somebody apart from being really, really good to great / like, you know, the like a different level of superstar is when people expect you to be great and then you exceed those expectations. And that's exactly what Kaitlyn did yesterday. And yesterday was really, I think it was probably the biggest day of Kaitlyn's career just because of the amount of expectation going into that game. And you just saw from the beginning, I mean, for those who watched from tip-off on, she was ready. Like, it was not a matter of nerves. Everybody felt the pressure of what that game was. It was the rematch. Everyone was talking about how many viewers there was going to be for that game. And you could just tell this is just another day for Kaitlyn Clark. And I think that's one of the few perks that she had of having the season she had, of so much attention on her all year long. This was really just another game for her. You didn't feel her ever get tight and miss shots and feel the pressure of the moment. Everything felt like it was so natural for her. And I think that's what makes her truly like a different level of player. There's been some great women's college players here, even recently. Sabrina, Kelsey Plum was ridiculous in college, but nobody has quite what Kaitlyn has. And that's just a sense of the moment and just a true command of her flair. Like the shot, the 3 in transition that she hit in the third quarter where, the ball just came to her and she, no rush at all, just pulled up and knocked it down. She was absolutely incredible last night. That is the full Kaitlyn Clark experience. And I don't even know what word to use. Impressed doesn't even feel right to say that she lived up and completely owned that moment.
Yeah, and now she gets to take on a UConn team where the stories. Now, Chris, we do this thing on the show where we get upset about the stories.
Sure.
When it comes to draft night and, I balled out. CJ McCollum randomly balls out against the Kings, even though he's faced the Kings 1,000 times. Right. But he balls out, and now all of a sudden, they passed on me. Right. They did this, they did that. Literally during the time where Kaitlyn Clark was coming up, UConn, they were the team, and UConn was not checking for Kaitlyn Clark. There were a lot of teams checking for Kaitlyn Clark when it was time to be recruited and things like that.
Sure.
UConn was not one of them. So now she gets to face off against UConn in the Final Four.
I can't stand this story, by the way.
Why?
Because it's also like
you're still in the camp.
No, she's from Iowa. She was never not going to Iowa, and that's why UConn didn't recruit her. But
that's like your Trace Jackson. He dropped to the second round. It's because he told people.
Exactly.
And tell that story, by the way.
Yeah, Trace Jackson Davis essentially was meant, everyone all year is, the Warriors, so smart, light years ahead. They took Brandon Podziemski. They take Trace Jackson Davis in the second round. What vision? Wow, nobody else saw this guy as this kind of talent. But the Warriors, their scouting department, second to none. Well, Trace Jackson Davis's agent literally manipulated the draft and said, don't take my client. We're trying to go to the war, and like makes him go to the Warriors. Austin Reeves did literally the same thing, except to get undrafted and then to sign with the Lakers. So,
hey,
you know,
you just got to have a chip on your shoulder, man.
I guess, you know, everybody's got to have a chip on their shoulder. Even Kaitlyn, who really doesn't need it.
Even Kaitlyn, and she really showed out last night. And obviously on the other side of that, we talked about Haley Van Lith and Angel Reese, who ended up fouling out. She balled out early.
She could have scored 30, 40 points in that game.
Yes.
I don't know if it's Ken Mulkey. I don't know if it's the LSU teammates that felt the moment was too big, but Angel Reese could not be stopped.
Yeah.
She looked like Wilt Chamberlain out there with Iowa's bigs. They had no answer for her. I have no idea why they stopped going away from her, because she literally could have scored every single time. I know she went like 1 of 12 or something like that.
She got
in the
ice
second
cold.
half. But
what did you think about that charge call that fouled her out?
Yeah, I mean, she was the defender was definitely moving. I didn't think it was a charge. It felt like it was. I mean, it was a bad call. It really was a bad call. I don't think it ended up ultimately deciding the game. It felt like the game was kind of starting to go in Iowa's momentum at that point. But yeah, I mean, ideally, you don't make that call. You don't make that as the final foul call. And then that's where, funny enough, we always complain about it in the NBA, but that would have been a really good time for replay.
It would have been a really good time for replay, but unfortunately, there was no replay. Angel Reese fouls out. They still had a chance at that point, but it felt like Iowa was just a step ahead. And offensively, this is the other side of the transfer portal, because Haley Van Lith was one of the most sought after players. The most in the league. They all play for Team USA. Yep. She's at Louisville. She decides to transfer over, and she goes Kevin Durant, essentially.
Yes.
And actually worse than Kevin Durant, because LSU won. Yeah. They literally won the championship. Yep. So she goes over. We're thinking, man, this is going to be crazy. Super and it just never clicked. No. It didn't look right all season long. And even last night, it just looked disjointed. Yeah. I feel like she took a step back as a scorer. She's out there trying to do whatever it is. Yeah. And that's the other side of the transfer portal. Sure sometimes the grass isn't always greener, but it was definitely green for Kaitlyn Clark last night. But of course, these games don't come without any drama. And there was some drama last night on and off the court that we will break down and get into when we return. TC will see you. We will take you when we get back. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The final game of the homestand concludes Tuesday as the Los Angeles Clippers pay a visit to Golden One Center and the Sacramento Kings.
It's fourth quarter Fox time. He's doubled, throws a pass cross court to Keegan, steps to his left, launches a three. He's got the triple. It's the fourth one from downtown in 5 attempts by Keegan Murray. And the Kings have tied it at 101.
Catch all the play-by-play starting at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They're in Midtown in the Cal Sutter Medical Building and also offer telemedicine appointments. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit KHTK.com.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home, and the men who use PTO to catch afternoon basketball in March with the boys. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Fidium Fiber, Dawson Oil Company, and Good Guys Heating and Cooling.
Join Alan Stiles, Chris Watkins, and the Sactown Sports Streak Team on Monday, April 8th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Fieldhouse American Sports Pub for some basketball madness and their mouth-watering full menu. 1310 Fulton Avenue. See you there.
This segment is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville. Check them out at kiavacaville.com.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Fieldhouse American Sports Pub. That is where Chris and I will be on Monday for the national championship on the men's side of things. And we'll either be watching NC State or Purdue versus Alabama or UConn. And shout out to NC State and UConn, both schools, their men's and women's going to the Final Four.
Yeah.
What are the chances, especially NC State?
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
Very crazy. Yeah. That's pretty low. I would imagine. I used to be fascinated when I was a kid. I can never come up with an answer, but like, who holds the crown? It's something I feel like ESPN should really care about. Which college truly holds the crown of having the best? I guess it's tough to do sports department because there are so many, you might dominate in soccer and lacrosse and hockey and not in football and basketball. But really, when it comes to football and basketball, the two biggest or most watched college sports, like who has the best football basketball program? Like Ohio State definitely used to have some. A lot. Florida used to definitely back in their day.
I mean, if Alabama wins, even just going to the Final Four,
that's literally a situation where they were so good at football that it has improved their basketball program.
Right. And I can't wait for the summer where we do who out of the teams that no longer have these legendary coaches, who is still built for success? Is it the Patriots? Is it Alabama? I mean, this is a new horizon. Duke, right? This is a new horizon when it comes to some of these legendary programs and coaches moving on and seeing what's next. We will be joined by Law Murray, who writes for The Athletic and covers the Clippers. That's at 12. So that's going to start our Clippers preview. Obviously, we got pocket watching and Harrison Barnes quotes, a bunch of stuff before then, but Law Murray will join us at 12. He has some great things and some great takes to break down the Clippers. 916-339-1140. Let's get to the phone lines. Our guy TC wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, TC? What you got for us?
What's going on, Stiles Watkins? What's going on?
Chilling,
man. Just living.
Just living, just ready for this game tonight. This game is a big game, man, for the Kings, though. But before we start on that, though, let's start with the tournament, man. I feel bad for Juju, man. She's a dog. There's some dogs there. I like Kaitlyn, Juju. Hey, to answer what Reese, when I was watching the game last night, they was dropping in like that weird zone where Kaitlyn was kind of sagging off her man, but like standing right in the middle to where they couldn't throw it to Reese in a post. You know what I'm saying? But they wasn't like Monkey wasn't helping them out with like screens. It looked like they were just like freelancing, like we have 24-hour fitness. Like, hey, Alan, please, bro, let's run this 5-on-5, bro. We trying to get it right now. We ain't running no plays. We just trying to get it. Like, and they wasn't running nothing, bro. So they wasn't helping her. And then Juju, she was super emotional last night, bro. But hey, she's a dog, though, bro. I like her demeanor.
Yeah. No.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was just gonna say it's crazy to watch because, and really that starts the conversation. Thanks for the call, TC. Really, that starts the conversation of, is this sustainable with women's college basketball? If there are people out there that obviously watch, they've been watching this and they say, hey, watch it with the Kaitlyn Clark is the best player ever. Don't disrespect those who came before. But there is obviously something about Kaitlyn Clark which has pulled in everyone to a point where college basketball is at a different level. And I do think that storylines matter. I think that last season with the Angel Reese pointing to the finger thing, I think that added to Kaitlyn Clark's story and add it to Angel Reese's story. We'll get into that as well. Now, if you remove all of that and there is no hero villain type of feeling going on there on both ends, I don't know if it still hits the same. But I feel that it's hard for me to say that that women's college basketball will be fine. Fine is probably the right answer. Juju, we know she's a beast. But will it be like this? I can't say that because we only have seen it with Kaitlyn Clark.
Yeah.
So it's not as if, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I definitely think it's going to be tough for it to stay at this level, especially without, I think Juju's only a freshman, so she can maybe continue it, but to build to the level that Kaitlyn was at. I mean, we've seen great women's college play, like Candace Parker.
That's what I'm saying.
Was a really big name.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably transition more to that, but I think the focus will still be more on building up these players, and I think that's a big step in the process is that there's just going to be a shift in, hey, we really only talked about this for 5 minutes of our Sports Center program.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it does deserve a whole block here, and I think that's where the shift is going to start to happen. And then it's, of course, going to be on the players to continue to grow the game themselves. Juju's got to, continue to be as public of a face as she is. She's one of the most followed players in the league on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Like, that stuff matters. They're going to have to try and continue to build up these stars, but there's plenty of options out there. I mean, you have Juju out there. I know Texas, who was a 1 seed this year, they had a really big freshman who was phenomenal. You have Azzy Fudd at Connecticut as well. You have so many good players who will still be in college that you can build around. It's not going to get to the level of Kaitlyn, but it's building up these players. So, I mean, I would say knowing 5 women's players is a lot better than where it was 3 or 4 years ago. So it's about the steady incremental progress. And we can't just say next year, because there is no Kaitlyn Clark, oh, the women's game is dead. That was just a blip. You got to give it some runway here to grow.
And you'll need other storylines,
Absolutely.
right? Now you have Juju's storyline. Yeah. She loses last night.
Right.
Now she'll get to come back as a sophomore.
Exactly.
True freshman, by the way,
Yes.
which is insane.
She's ridiculous.
Now she'll get to come back. So it'll still be around. I don't know that it'll be like this, because whenever something happens for the first time at a level like we're at, then no, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, they'll be able to replicate and duplicate that. I don't know about that, but either way, it still puts women's college basketball in a better spot than it was a couple years ago, which is really all you could ask for. We do want to get to some of the drama that happened on and off the court. And, we'd be remiss not to mention Angel Reese, who had a lot of things to say. She has a lot of things to say at all times, and she had a lot of things to say last night. She talks about, some of the struggles that she's had, death threats, being sexualized, a lot of different things. And really, you can look at this and say, well, why? I saw a lot of this, Chris, with people saying, well, why is she bringing up this now that they lost? Well, if she brought it up while they were winning, you'd say it was a distraction, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
For all intents and purposes, her college career might be over. I think they have 48 hours to declare, which I don't know why they don't have that much time.
I don't think they have to. I think she just said she was going to announce it after her
There you go. So possibly she stays, possibly she goes. Mm-hmm. And, she had a lot of things to kind of get off of her chest, and other teammates kind of chimed in. Haley Van Lith had chimed in last week. So, I'm not going to sit here and have a conversation about women's college basketball and ignore that.
Sure.
That's part of the story too. And I think a lot of people, whether they realize why does Angel Reese bug me so much, or why do I want LSU to lose so badly? And I think it does get a little bit murky with Kim Mulkey and things like that. But the bottom line is, she's 21, 22 years old. She was out there. She had a great time. She was doing her thing. When she was winning, she was talking trash. And to me, the fact that she chose this time to bring everything up, that doesn't mean that it wasn't happening. But again, it's over. Mm-hmm. I mean, or it's probably over. At the very least, the season's over.
Exactly.
So now
she's not going to have this spotlight again.
Exactly. So I'm going to tell you guys what I went through.
Yeah.
My guess is that she would have said the same thing whenever their last game of the season was.
Yes.
So if they won the championship, I think she would have been talking the same way, but they lost. And now it turns into, well, no, when y'all were winning, it was all goody.
Right.
But now, so I'm not doing
No,
that.
and I don't think she's trying to turn it into, not saying you're saying that, but I think people are trying to imply that she's making excuses. And I don't think that's the case at all. I think she's just giving insight to, this has not been an easy season. Like they were a 3 seed going into this tournament. They won the national championship this year. There's a lot that comes with that. And there's a lot of scrutiny, a lot more attention that you just weren't getting before. She's on commercials now, all that stuff. It plays a factor into how you play on the floor because you think about all that stuff.
Yeah. And for me, I just want everybody to keep the same energy. And yes, they're getting paid now. And Angel Reese is one of the highest NIL earners. Nobody is saying that she's not. But at the same time, these are the same people that get mad. It's just funny to me when people pick and choose when they're for the athletes and when they're not for the athletes.
Right.
So when it's DeAaron Fox and he's not upset, but is saying, I don't owe y'all anything to the media, or however you want to phrase that, then we get comments and everybody is saying he doesn't know anybody anything, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
DeAaron, they can do no wrong as athletes. But then when it's somebody like Angel Reese, for whatever reason, I'm not going to speculate. Now all of a sudden it's, just stop it, play basketball, this, that, the third. You have to keep the same energy. That's how I feel about it. The last thing I wanted to get into, and it's crazy, I'm not sitting here and I'm not doing the national anthem thing in 2024. I'm just not doing it. There was basically stuff going around that LSU was not on the floor for the national anthem. Iowa was. I also saw that in the second game, USC nor UConn was on the floor for the national anthem, but nobody talked about that. My feeling on this is we've seen this movie before in 2020. Some people may have been convinced as to, that makes sense or that doesn't make sense. How I feel about this, and not trying to get political here, is that people feel the way they're going to feel. I am not really out in these streets trying to convince anybody of it's cool if you kneel, it's not cool if you kneel. We did that 4 years ago. I don't need to do it now. If you want to get upset about LSU, then me telling you that you shouldn't, or somebody telling you that you shouldn't, It doesn't matter. So it's a nothing burger to me, because everybody has their stance, and that just is what it is. So I don't think anybody should waste their breath on it. Whatever camp you want to be in, that's probably the camp you were in 4 years ago. Exactly. That's just it.
Yep. Nope. I don't really have much to add. I'm totally right there with you. We're not going to change anybody's mind. If I had to guess, if they weren't out there for the anthem, probably wasn't intentional. It probably wasn't a message or anything like that.
Let's think about who their coach is.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Let's think about who their coach is.
99.99% sure that Kim Mulkey would not advise her team to do that.
No, never.
Yes.
Never. That's what they've been doing. They had an LSU, someone who covers LSU, write about it, and he spoke and he said they've been doing the same thing all season long.
Really?
But these are the growing pains with growth. More eyes on it. They take things out of context, and then it gets to social media and it blows up. But let's remember who their coach is. I don't think she's the person.
She's not making political statements with basketball. She actually is doing the complete opposite. Well, she is making some political statements.
Right. It's normally in the other
she believes there's no place for that in basketball.
So had to break that all down. Let's get back into some Kings talk. And DeAaron Fox, where does he rank amongst the point guards and guards with most minutes? Is it too much? Can he carry the load? We'll talk about it. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Subscribe to Sactown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sactown Sports.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. DQ presents the sound of BOGO-free Blizzard treats in the DQ app. It's the sound of downloading the DQ app.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through April 23rd, get a $15 gift card when you buy 5 or more quarts of Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic, only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Claim based on Sequence 3 H test versus API SP test limits.
At Progressive, we know how much you love your recreational vehicles, so we decided to record this commercial in an RV.
With a family on vacation.
Mom, who are these people?
Oh, that's Flo and Jamie. They're recording a commercial, sweetie.
Don't they do that in the studio?
Oh, normally.
No.
But we wanted to feature a family who bundled their home and RV and saved with Progressive.
Yeah, it looks like you're all out of chips.
Okay, I think we'll just drop you off at the next gas station.
Bundle your home and other vehicles with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Just go to newnordicusa.com or visit Walgreens or Amazon to purchase. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at newnordicusa.com.
The final game of the homestand concludes Tuesday as the Los Angeles Clippers pay a visit to Golden One Center and the Sacramento Kings.
It's fourth quarter Fox time. He's doubled, throws a pass cross court to Keegan, steps to his left, launches a three. He's got the triple. It's the fourth one from downtown in 5 attempts by Keegan Murray. And the Kings have tied it at 101.
Catch all the play-by-play starting at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Do that when they won last night, and she said, "It ain't me, dog. That's Kobe." So the photographers wanted Paige to recreate it. So when people get mad at these athletes, hey, why don't you just why don't you just copy Kobe or whatever?
Yeah.
Just to peel back the curtain, a lot of times I don't think it's these athletes wanting to do it. I think photographers are giving them idea.
Do the thing. Yeah.
And Paige said, "I'm not going down. I'm not doing that." And maybe that will stop that trend. I feel like you're the type of person that has feelings on that trend.
I mean, it's just hold on here. From this is kind of breaking news here from Law Murray, our guest that we're having at noon. Clippers rule Kawhi Leonard out tonight.
Let's go.
Out at
Let's
Sacramento.
go.
So there's
why?
There's
not that I care, but
right
why?
knee soreness.
Let's go.
Kawhi back on his stuff, man.
It is time.
So we will definitely have to ask Law about that. Very, very interesting stuff. But I think we were talking about Paige and Kaitlyn. But yeah, I definitely think that stuff it's a little corny. I definitely think it's I think for the right person and for the right award, it could be cool. It's a nice nod, especially if you're winning a championship. I don't know if a Big Ten title is necessarily
it's happening
big
too
enough.
much now.
It's happening too much now. Yeah, everybody. Apparently, Kobe just took a ton of sad pictures in locker rooms after winning. I know Jordan's got one too, where he's like kissing the trophy. People make but it's like, have your own moment, make your own version of that picture.
And to the photographers out there, stop it.
Stop it. Just
stop it.
Just take Kodak moments.
Stop putting these athletes in weird situations. All right?
That's right.
Just let it go.
Yes, please.
Just let it
just
go.
Want the money shot. That's it.
Exactly. And now we'll have to let go of Kawhi.
That's right.
Going to be in
that's
Sacramento
make you feel
tonight.
Worse, right? It's got to make you feel worse.
No, not with this. Not with this team. This is a different team now. This is a different team now.
Right. That's
so
right.
that team had Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter. This is a different team.
That's right.
Who takes care of business.
That's right.
Okay, so it's Paul George. So now Keegan on Paul George. Keon on James Harden. I like that.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And, I think Russ is back now, so that'll be an interesting addition that they didn't have last time these two teams played. We know DeAaron and Russ like to go at it quite a bit. They definitely have a shared respect for each other, but that definitely shows itself out on the court with some pretty intense play. I mean, really since the start of their career. I think DeAaron, it kind of started as like a, hey, Russ is like one of my favorite players kind of thing. And then Russ is weird, like sometimes he's like, oh, okay, I'm one of your favorite players. Well, I'm gonna bust your ass because of it.
Right.
And I think Russ just kind of always had a mutual respect for DeAaron. There was always the who's the fastest player in the NBA from coast to coast conversation that Russ kind of felt like DeAaron was stepping on his territory a bit there. And, I think the rest is history on that. DeAaron has definitely kind of taken that mantle and kept it, although John Morant is definitely on his heels. It's a really fun rivalry, and I'm sure Russ is going to play a pretty big factor in tonight's game if Kawhi is going to be out.
This was a couple days ago with the Clippers going up against the Hornets. So I don't know if it's the Westbrook thing. I don't know. But did you see this clip of Westbrook? Don't disrespect my name. Do you understand me? I don't give a bleep.
You're talking about at the Hornets game the other day with the dude who had the balloon hat on?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Like, Russ, is that really the guy you want to pick? I think that dude has already lost the game of life.
Yeah.
Okay. He's wearing a balloon hat without a child in sight. Okay. Yeah.
For the Hornets.
For the Hornets. Okay. He's at a Hornets Clipper game and he's talking trash to you. He's straight up donkey behavior.
And now I'm wondering, and we did this the last time that the Clippers came to Sacramento. The Westbrook thing, or Westbrick,
pronounce his name
don't disrespect him. Would
He's
you advise?
Look, right now.
No, I'm just saying that we are very strong. Yeah. We're a very strong show here with a lot of influence. Would you advise the fans of Sacramento to say it, or do you think it's out of bounds?
I mean,
you're not getting kicked out for saying Westbrook.
You shouldn't. I would definitely say you shouldn't. I don't think it's out of bounds. I just think that it upsets Russ in a way that I would not want him upset. I don't have a problem with you saying
play
Westbrook.
Better.
I think he would play better because of it. I don't think you need to give Russell Westbrook more fuel than what he already has, but I do think calling him Westbrook does it's been obvious. It riles him up to a certain point where he's willing to get people kicked out of the game. Maybe it will distract him if it is an entire arena full of it. The Kings a couple years ago got in trouble for, I think it was when he was still on OKC playing He's Cold as Ice and Russ.
That's crazy.
It was nuts. He complained the next day and the Kings had to the Kings Entertainment no longer could do it. It was annoying.
Okay. Well, how about this one? And maybe we'll come back. Yeah. We'll come back with this after the break. But okay, if you can't play Cold as Ice, can you play She's a Brick House?
Can we do it for somebody who's not on our team? Because they played it for DeAaron the other day.
That's right.
After he missed a free throw. I don't know what they were doing, but yes.
Wait,
please.
What?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was DeAaron missed a free throw, and then it was either a free throw or a shot.
Yeah, and it was Slamson, and he was stacking up all the bricks, right?
Yeah,
it was totally
so
a mistake.
While DeAaron was shooting?
So it wasn't while he was shooting. It was like something happened. There was like a lull for a minute. I can't remember if it was a jump ball or something happened, but yeah, DeAaron had
sure
just
it was a free throw.
It might have been.
That's crazy.
It was really, really strange. It felt like a mistake, but it was out of pocket. So, I would think that would be above board. I would hope that that's the very least of what we can do tonight.
Wow. Amid Rock is saying, I guess there was a tech. or something like that.
Oh, that definitely might have been it. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't fully aware of what was happening, but I did notice that they were just, like Simone said, it was Slamson laying bricks, and they played It's a Brick House, or She's a Brick House. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. So hopefully maybe they just, the finger slipped and they were saving that for today's game and accidentally played it the other day.
That's insane. There we go.
Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
Russ.
Yeah. That's right.
I'll have to get the pen out here.
West Brick, yeah. Uh-huh.
Ow.
West Brick.
There you go.
House. That's right. Mm-hmm. So
gotta get some sort
I don't
of
want
like
anybody
Ninja
getting
Turtle
kicked out
reference in there
on my account, but if you feel so inclined.
I mean, I feel like saying West Brick is fine. He doesn't like it, but like it's not. I mean, he has also like this really. I don't mean to come down his road a ton here, but his whole thing is he's like, it's disrespecting my family name. Like,
yeah, that's right.
And I'm like, brother, like, I guess, but no, it's really not that deep. It's really not that deep.
It's not. There's no way he didn't hear that at some point throughout college,
right.
high school. But
your friends,
his percentage, his percentage started dropping, and all of a sudden, it bugged him.
Look, it fit. If the shoe fits, man, sorry.
Guys, I realized we didn't call me by my proper name. My
that's right.
Name.
Simone, what was it again?
Brickford.
That's right. Thank you for reminding us, Simone. Thank you.
Throughout the show, that's all I want to hear now.
I'm just also thinking if there's something right. What would mine be? I mean, it's my last name is Stiles.
Alan Piles of Bricks.
Okay.
Too fast on that one. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you've been thinking about that for a while now.
Yeah, I had that
because it's just like Alan. People say, Alan, you have no style.
But no.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That's a sick. That one hurts.
I'm just imagining if I was worth what Russell Westbrook was worth,
right?
And I got to play a game. Not that he didn't work his butt off. I'm not saying that, but I get to play a game. I made a great career out of my life. Would it bother me if someone found a pretty witty version of my name? It just wouldn't bother me.
This is one of those where, shout out LeBron, who said the quiet part out loud all those years ago and said, I get to go home to a multi-million-dollar mansion and, lay my head on a nice comfy pillow, have dinner made for me and have everybody, ready at my request. And you're going to go home to your life. Whatever that is, you're going to go do that. But I'm going to go home and do what I just laid out.
And that was crazy.
Who's really
to
the
say.
loser?
I mean,
it was insane.
He said the quiet part out loud, and
You're not supposed to say.
You're
that.
not supposed to say that.
Supposed
no,
to say that ever.
But if Westbrook, I would much rather Westbrook say that.
Yeah,
than you're disrespecting my family name.
Totally.
I don't understand.
It's just too prideful, and it fits Russ's whole like tough guy, but actually secretly, to quote another person, Draymond, insecurity speaks volumes.
Yeah,
like. It speaks more to, hey, you're really like just insecure with how your legacy is, which I shouldn't say I understand, because I will never understand what it feels like to feel like you're one of the best in your craft and then have people constantly putting you down for it. I hope to never feel that. But like, it is a bit like, hey, man, forget what the birds say. Like, what do your peers say? How do you feel? Like at some point, you truly are a multimillionaire who has all of these things going for you. You shouldn't let what Joe Schmo has to say really affect anything about your life.
Because when you let people know that it bugs you, that just makes things worse.
Yeah,
that just makes things worse. From Ward on the Sack Chat, Stiles missed by miles.
Yeah, it's just a little wordy,
Right.
It's a little wordy.
It's the two syllables.
Yeah, you got it.
It just nothing fits better than Westbrook. That's the problem.
Make funnable proof. I think so.
What's yours? Watt Brick?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I saw somebody have Juju Watkins, which like obviously is a positive, but like I'm trying to just even think of like play on. There's not much there.
There's not much.
You
could
do
Russ.
Chris and pushing P, you put a P in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's just sorry,
not
Russ.
To roast myself, but
sorry, Russ.
Yeah. Bust.
It just works.
Yeah, it works so perfectly, man.
From the 916, him getting so mad about being called Westbrook makes me want to say
exactly.
Of course.
Everybody. because he gets way too. The problem is, it's one thing if he's like, I don't like it. Like, hey, like, it kind of does get under my skin. Like my grandma, if he starts, explaining the family lineage, but like he gets too upset.
He's got his crest tattooed on his. He's got.
You see this? What does this say?
What does that say
brick to you? No, it says Brook.
This is my family crest, and you will not disrespect me. When we return, some A's drama as we await what might break today in the next chapter
Besides
of the
Rams
A's
because of the bricks.
That's also right. And DeAaron Fox, we talk about his minutes, whether or not it's sustainable. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The final game of the homestand concludes Tuesday as the Los Angeles Clippers pay a visit to Golden One Center and the Sacramento Kings.
Sabonis rolling in the paint, eludes the defender, and a two-hand flush is thrown down off the dribble.
Catch all the play-by-play starting at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Dr. Ken Howachek and kinesiologist Kelsey Graham discuss the Good Feet store.
The foot has a lot of detail. It has a lot of complexity. There's a lot that can go wrong. A lot of problems start in the foot and end up elsewhere. Knee pain, hip pain, back pain. When aligning the feet properly, we can see relief elsewhere. And that's the beauty of the Good Feet arch support. It can place the feet into their ideal position and gives them the balance, the support, the comfort, and the relief of the pain. The bottom line is that the Good Feet arch support can be a highly effective pain relief solution when nothing else has worked.
The feet have a really big impact on how the rest of the body moves. The knees, the hips, the lower back especially. If the foot isn't properly aligned, all of these joints are going to function incorrectly. That results in a lot of muscle tension and chronic pain. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that the right arch supports can put the foot in its proper alignment. So all the joints up the rest of the body will be aligned properly as well. And when the body's aligned, we can reduce the risk of injury and chronic pain.
Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Modesto, Stockton, and Vacaville for a free fitting and test walk.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home, and the men who use PTO to catch afternoon basketball in March with the boys. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
At Ashton & Price, over the last 25 years, we've won just about every injury case you can think of. Slip and fall, falling merchandise, fell through rotted decking, we won those. Dangerous stairs, falls into holes, dog bites, won them. Injured while pedestrian or on a bicycle, auto, motorcycle, big rig, company vehicle, Uber, or Lyft accident, we've won them all. And the best news is there's no fee until you win. So no matter how you got injured,
remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered flex steel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Once upon a time, you could get a heater tune-up or an air conditioner tune-up for just $59, or both for $89. Not too hot, not too cold, just right.
I thought you were going to read me a bedtime story.
Go to sleep now. Bonnie.com. License 696-355.
This segment is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville. Check them out at KiaVacaville.com.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios. KHTKAM Sacramento. KYMX HD2 Sacramento. Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Touchdown! San Francisco! Sactown Sports.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Kawhi Leonard is out as the Clippers. I mean, they're in a weird spot, Chris, as we get into pocket watching a little bit later in the show. We will be joined by Law Murray, who is one of the Clippers media members that broke the Kawhi being out news. So we will get more of a breakdown from him on that. But they're in a weird spot to where it's hard to play when you're not really you're playing to hold on to a spot versus to gain a spot, right? The Clippers are in a weird position to where they're 4 games back of the T-Wolves. So basically, they're just playing to not lose the 4 seed.
Pretty much.
Which is a little bit different than trying to catch someone, right? The Mavericks could probably not, but could possibly catch the Clippers. So the Clippers are in a weird spot to where their motivation might become a question, and that has been an issue with the Clippers. And because they're locked into it, the Kings get gifts like tonight where Kawhi is out because they cannot catch the T-Wolves.
Yeah. There is still a chance. I mean, if the Clippers lose tonight and Dallas wins their next game, they're only a game up. So there is still a chance that they could fall to Dallas down the stretch here. But, definitely you're right. Like there is a different vibe, a different intensity for when you're chasing somebody. I mean, when you have that carrot dangling in front of you, you're going to act a little bit differently than when you're constantly looking over your shoulder. And I think, it's definitely more of a passive team. You're probably not going to catch them. It's not full steam ahead like it's going to be with the Kings or like it was with Dallas or like some of these, the Kings still have to play New Orleans and Phoenix and OKC. Those teams are all, to your point, fighting for something, trying to build towards something, whether it be the number 1 seed for OKC or, we know New Orleans and Phoenix are both fighting with the Kings for that play-in spot. That's not going to be the same energy that you have tonight, I would guess. Of course, Clippers still need to win games. They're still going to want to go out there and try and get to 50 wins. They're at 47 right now. It feels like 50 would probably keep them safe of being leapfrogged, but at the end of the day, the Kings have to take tonight and hope that the Clippers are overlooking them. Maybe that's how you can look at this Kawhi Leonard sitting out tonight is them saying, tonight is not a all-in night for us because we know this is only the 7th game Kawhi has missed all year long.
Yeah.
If they really felt like they had to have
That's
this game, Kawhi's going. So take that as a bit of disrespect and use that.
Yeah, and if they were 1 game behind the T-Wolves,
there's no way, right?
Or something like that, maybe it would be a little bit different. But this is where we're at. Let's hear from Ty Lue and basically him explaining the Kawhi sitting out tonight situation.
Any idea when it might have crept up?
Last game.
Is he going to be good to go for Thursday?
We hope so. We're not sure right now, but that's what we're leaning towards. That's what we hope. Hopeful that he'll be back by Thursday. We're not sure yet.
When did you kind of hear from him about it? Like just after the game, or do you feel like it's something that you can kind of pinpoint like during the game?
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, and heard about it after the game, but yesterday when we found out.
Yeah.
He with you guys today?
No, he went back to LA. Better resources as far as treatment and everything like that. So he went back yesterday once we landed.
This is how it starts.
Interesting.
This is how he did not sound happy.
He did not, right? Like, I mean, I know coaches aren't usually, super talkative, especially when it comes to injuries, but that was like very short.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's like Kawhi, like I thought we were past this, man. Like now is and Kawhi's probably saying, "Hey, coach, like I got to be fresh for the playoffs. I played all these games. You don't want me burning out in the playoffs." And meanwhile, Ty Lue's like, "Brother, we're not in the play. Like we still are fighting a little bit here. So maybe there's a little bit of that going on, but definitely thought it was interesting. I know he says, we have better treatment options out there in LA, but kind of interesting that he's not with the team. I guess, if he's not going to be helping, it's not the end all be all, but I think it's a bit interesting that they just kind of shipped him back over to LA. I would assume their next game is probably at home, but
So Thursday it's at home and they have the Nuggets.
Okay. So maybe making sure he's okay for that one.
I mean, a win is a win nowadays.
I would think so, right?
Yeah, I would think you want to take care of business, but they get the Nuggets and then after that they get the Jazz on Friday, all at home. So, well,
you know, the Sacramento Kings have been in this position before, and we've seen that they really haven't done the best job of taking advantage of this. I mean, we've talked about it all year. It's now to the point where it's become a meme. It's become a joke to say, oh, Kawhi Leonard's out. I don't like the Kings' chances tonight. That makes me feel a lot worse because we've seen this Kings team, whether it's that Miami game without Jimmy Butler, whether it was, I think Chicago played a game here a month ago where they didn't have some of their stars going. It hasn't really meant much for this Kings team, but to your point earlier, hopefully this is a new team. Hopefully
they're shorthanded.
They're shorthanded, exactly. So they can't have that, oh, we should win today mentality, because realistically, you probably shouldn't win any of these games from how you're stacked up right now. You're going to have to go out there and get it, and you're going to have to earn it, and you're going to have to show teams that just because we don't have Malik and Kevin does not mean that we don't have a team. We still got some guys out there that can make some noise, and I think that's really the goal for the end of this year, is just show that this season is not over yet.
You know what's a little bit bizarre, and I know Vegas isn't the end-all be-all, but if I'm not mistaken, when I was doing off nights last night, the Clippers were 2-point favorites, and as of an hour ago, I know the news just dropped, so it probably hasn't updated yet, but yeah, they were a 2-point favorite with Kawhi, assuming Kawhi was playing. Without Kawhi, it might go back to the Kings, which I don't want it to do.
Maybe it'll be a pick 'em
at all. But do you think that's a little bit bizarre?
There's no way
to only be 2-point favorites with Kawhi and James and Paul George, and the Kings are missing Malik?
Yeah, maybe their thought is that what we just kind of like, the Kings are going to fight regardless. And, maybe, the Clippers have slipped here as of late. They're not as scary as a team as what they were last time they played them. And I'm looking at it now, Alan. From what I'm seeing here, and I've now seen it on two different things. The Kings are now 2.5-point favorites themselves.
Stop.
So
not again.
Now I'm on your side of that. Does not make me feel
I don't
better
want
about
this
tonight for sure.
I don't
definitely
want this.
Is a little bit strange. Again, I don't think the Kings locker room is looking at that and feeling any differently, but it's a bit weird. It's a bit strange that I mean, I know that those numbers are kind of loosely based off of people's actions of the game, but I don't know. It's switching from 2.5 one side to 2.5 the other. I'm not saying I don't think that the Kings have a good shot at winning because Kawhi's not out there, but I don't know if I would say that they are the favorite and then some.
When you go down the list, right? And I know your boy Norman Powell.
That's right. He's starting tonight.
Well, I know it's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah.
He kills the Kings. He kills everybody. By the way,
he does.
If you look at it like this, as far as the best players, right? You would say now, who has the best player on the floor? You taking DeAaron over Paul George?
I would hope so. Yes.
Okay.
I think Paul George is close, but I think they're right around the same.
So
caliber.
If you're looking at this from the Vegas standpoint,
it's up for grabs. Maybe
you could say that the Kings have at least two of the best four player. Is it split?
It's probably
because you have Sabonis, you have DeAaron.
Yeah.
I'm taking them over Paul George and James Harden.
Yeah, I'd probably go with how I expect it to go tonight. I would say DeAaron 1, probably Paul George 2. And then, that might be the swing. Is James Harden going to be better than Sabonis?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is he going to be more impactful? We've seen, remember that first game where James Harden came in here? I think he had like 18 points in the first quarter or something crazy like that. Hit all those threes. If they get a version of that James Harden, then yeah, I mean, I think it's going to go pretty well in the Clippers' favor. But if we see, I think the last time James Harden came in here, he had under 15 points and was really held to being more of a facilitator, then that's going to bode well for the Kings. So really you could say that is where this game is going to be determined, is how good of a game does James Harden play? And we've talked about Zubac stopping Sabonis. Is Sabonis able to have the impact that at this point he has to have, and then some? He's going to have to probably have over 10 assists if the Kings are going to win today, because he's going to have to create some shots for others. We talked about it yesterday. While DeAaron and Sabonis need to step up, it's not just on those two to up their scoring levels.
It's just bizarre, the Clippers and what they do. Listen to this.
Weird.
I know it's the Hornets,
Yeah.
but Paul George had 41 points.
Nuts.
Kawhi had 23 points. Zubac had 24 points. James Harden had 10 assists and 6 points.
Yeah. I mean, they're just playing around. When you're playing against a team that bad, James is just, let me set everybody up. I might not even need to work today.
Right.
And he clearly didn't. He was like, this is how I'm going to get my off night here. No, good plug there, but
there you go.
That's what makes that team so dangerous though, is that, Paul George can be the best player on the floor any night. Kawhi, you expect him to be the best player on the floor every night, but even if he's not, he's still going to give you 23. And I bet he held his opponent underneath 20 points too. So, and then when you have that big of a performance out of Zubac, that tells me with 10 assists from Harden, they killed him in the pick and roll. And, that's what makes this team so dangerous is pick your poison. You want these two forwards to just ISO you to death and score on your defenders. Keegan Murray, go ahead. Paul George will score over you. Kawhi Leonard, he'll take Harrison Barnes to work all day. Or if you want, they'll run pick and roll with Harden and Zubac, and they can get Harden going that way. They can get Zubac going that way. And then you can't forget about my guy, Norm Powell, who's just sitting in the corner ready to detonate. And then again, last time the Kings played this team, they didn't have Russell Westbrook, who is, we just know what Russ brings off the bench. Tons of energy, kind of a bit of a boomer bust. He's either going to have, 10 plus points, or he's probably going to go 2 of 10 and shoot his team out of the game. So they have a lot of different weapons, a lot of different ways they can win. And this is a good early test for this Kings team, because this is a team that does have a lot of depth. And the Kings at this point have kind of lost a lot of their depth. So it'll be interesting how they kind of counterbalance that.
This is a huge opportunity for the Kings now with Kawhi Leonard out to not necessarily be thrown in the pool, right? At least you're in the pool.
Yeah.
You're, what are you at the 4 feet mark, right? It's starting to get a little bit deep.
You got that little, spaghetti thing.
Exactly. If the Jazz, that was 2 feet.
Yeah.
That was
It's
maybe
kiddie pool.
Yeah, that's basically the kiddie pool. Now you're looking at 4 feet, something like that, and where it's okay, I got to pay attention here.
Got your neck.
The neck is still hanging on, because after this, then you go to the Knicks. And if you look, this is why it's been such a up and down and partly upsetting season. When we talk about the bad losses from the Kings, we don't even mention the losing to the Bulls. We don't even mention losing to the Heat. Yeah. That's a separate
category.
Yeah. And then there were games, the 76ers game where you got blown out, no Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Now you have another, you got to face the Timberwolves without Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah. Now you have another opportunity. All of a sudden, you get the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard. And then when you go to New York, now you'll get the Knicks without OG Anunoby.
Yeah.
So,
and who knows what that Celtics game will look like.
And who knows what they've been trying to hook you up all season long. And you just said, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want it. Coming up next, continuing the conversation, Harrison Barnes doing Harrison Barnes things. He's up for a couple different awards, and we'll have a discussion. Who is a better comp, the Timberwolves or the Nuggets? Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The following is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
That's a
1.5.
Yeah,
0.5. Maybe that'll be on Prop Talk.
Yeah, maybe it might be. Because that's tough too, because then you got to consider, okay, like, is the person who's heckling him, what are the odds that they're with somebody? And then that's going to put you on the over.
Because it's 2.
But it's like, the odds of somebody who is going to confront a professional athlete at that level, what are the odds that that person has friends?
Yeah,
like that's pretty
true.
small. And so that's where, the 0.5, like it's tough. That's a tough number to try and hit.
Looking at the kind of the landscape of this whole thing, and when you have some things to say to athletes, and hopefully you don't cross the line, that Thunder team have two of the most, I don't think the word is hated, and I don't know if the word is polarizing, but KD deals with a lot. Russell Westbrook deals with a lot. It just feels like that whole big three situation, they ended up being three of the most polarizing players in this generation's game.
Yeah, you're talking about the Thunder three?
Yeah,
definitely. You really can't tell the story of the 2010s without those three guys. I mean, they're really the most important three between KD's championships and Russ and Harden's MVPs and how they got them. Yeah, you really like they are the 2010s. Really, of course, Steph Curry and LeBron definitely had a factor in the 2010s as well. But the regular season, especially with Russ's triple doubles, and then what that sparked with that conversation, which we still have today because of Domantas Sabonis, and then James Harden's really started the whole ethical basketball conversation as well, with the foul merchants and the he's getting a triple double, but at what cost? And is this really basketball, or has he bastardized basketball and turned it into this numbers game instead of turning it into a beautiful passing, moving, shooting game? It is really interesting. What's also interesting is, would any of that have happened if they just stayed together? Like, what would that have looked like? Would they have ran the 2010s? Would we even be talking about the Warriors today if those three just stayed together in OKC? I don't know, but it is really intriguing how those three have been the most, you could argue, the most three influential players, Steph Curry and LeBron removed, of the 2010 since.
If you gave Kevin Durant truth serum, do you think he wishes that they ran it back?
Absolutely. I would think you would have.
So you blow the 3-1 to the Warriors, and then the Warriors blow a 3-1 to the Cavs, and then you just go back to OKC.
I would think you would have to, but that's also past the point of trading Harden, right? I believe Harden had been traded the season before, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's at that point, it's just him and Russ.
I think it was just him and Russ at that point. But even then, like, you still had Serge Ibaka, you still had Steven Adams.
Mm-hmm.
I would think you would run it back. I mean, I would think that, you know, he got his 2 championships. At what cost? I think you would definitely be able to speak more to how the feelings of how even Golden State or San Francisco specifically feels about KD in those moments. You were on the ground floor. You heard callers and all those people. Even though KD was a massive part of that, there was still conversations of, you know, whose team it was.
He was a hired gun.
That's
what he was.
Yeah, totally. They never embraced him as one of his own. I don't think he has felt like the post OKC portion of his career has been worth it.
I saw something on social media a couple days ago. It said that they feel bad for Kevin Durant because he has no home.
No, he doesn't.
If you look at
booed, I think the other day in
probably
in OKC.
If you look at some of the other greats right now, I would say obviously Steph has his.
Yeah.
LeBron has his as well. You can go back to Cleveland at any point
Steph's
in time.
got 2 homes.
I would even say Harden has the Rockets to a lesser degree, right? And KD has no home.
None at all. Like, and I mean, OKC would be the closest thing I would think. But the way he left them, like, I can only imagine. Like, if Chris Webber would have done that, there's no love. There is zero love for Chris Webber.
Y'all don't even like Buddy Hield.
I mean, Buddy didn't give us anything, so that's why we don't love Buddy Hield. If Buddy Hield took us to a 3-1 Western Conference Finals, I think we would feel a little bit different. I mean, OKC don't love him, that's for sure. I mean, I would never be able to personally get over something like that. There's no way Brooklyn loves him, right? Like, for his month and a half or whatever, year and a half there.
Yeah.
Phoenix, maybe he has the best shot of claiming, just because Phoenix doesn't have
is crazy.
The brightest history. And I mean, he hasn't really accomplished much there.
Yeah. It is something else. But we know Westbrook always has some things to say. Kawhi Leonard, if you are just now joining us, Kawhi Leonard will not be on the floor tonight. It was reported about 20-ish, 30-ish minutes ago. Kawhi Leonard out with knee soreness. So here's an opportunity now for the Kings to take care of business and to literally just take advantage of a situation that maybe they weren't so good at taking advantage of in years past.
Yeah.
If you look at the Clippers season series, they only faced the Clippers at full strength once or twice. I know they lost bad to the Clippers, and the Clippers were missing someone, or
Paul George didn't play last time these two teams.
Okay, maybe that's the first win that they got off of the Clippers, and it was with Paul George out. Because I know they got waxed early on, and somebody was off a back-to-back, and then the Kings were off a back-to-back. So this is an opportunity for the Kings to take care of business. It's that simple.
Absolutely. Like, it shouldn't matter who's playing. They should just focus on themselves. But as we know, it definitely has mattered. And you have an opportunity for what it's worth to split this season series at 2-2. I don't really think that the Kings have any chance of catching the Clippers in that 4 spot or in the division, either one. But at the same time, it is a good feather in the cap, and I think it is building really good momentum for this really, really tough road trip. Keeping those good feelings, feeling good, I think is going to be huge for this team, not feeling the weight of having, because here's the thing, if they get beat by 20, 25 tonight, that's the kind of thing that can start to, get you feeling like, I don't know if we can compete without these guys. You just don't want those thoughts to ever cross your mind. Again, keep the good feelings, feeling good. It would be so big to just carry momentum here going into the road. Who knows what will happen once they hit it, but if you start this road trip on a really, really sour note, at this point in the season, it's really tough to recover from it. So I think this is a really, really big game just for the spirits of this team. Getting blown out by the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard at home before you have arguably your biggest road trip of the year, that is ultimate bad vibes. So you got to keep it feeling good today. And as is going to be the case with the rest of these games, you have to treat this like this is the final game of your season.
We hear from Harrison Barnes, and he has some things to say about the Kings' mentality moving forward when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The final game of the homestand concludes Tuesday as the Los Angeles Clippers pay a visit to Golden One Center and the Sacramento Kings.
It's fourth quarter Fox time. He's doubled, throws a pass cross court to Keegan, steps to his left, launches a three. He's got the triple. It's the fourth one from downtown in 5 attempts by Keegan Murray. And the Kings have tied it at 101.
Catch all the play-by-play starting at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Fans, the NBA playoffs are on their way. But before they begin, it's the SoFi NBA Play-In Tournament.
Winner advances, the loser goes home.
8 teams vying for the last 2 spots in each conference.
Hurry!
Some teams will get in.
Do or die.
Others, they're coming up short.
Forget about X's and O's. Who wants it more?
It's now or never. The playoffs are calling, but first, you gotta win to get in. The SoFi NBA Play-In Tournament, April 16th through 19th on ESPN and TNT.
Jiffy Lube has a special promotion going on right now. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change at Jiffy Lube and receive a $25 e-gift card from popular brands for food, gas, and more. It's that easy. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change and receive a $25 e-gift card. So basically, going to Jiffy Lube can get you a free lunch or a pizza for dinner. That's what we call added value for the consumer. That's why Jiffy Lube is #1 in the greater Sacramento area for oil changes. Visit jiffylube.com for more details and valuable coupons today.
Elevate your golf game at Timber Creek Golf Course in Roseville. Just named to the prestigious Golfer's Choice 2024 Top 25 public golf courses in all of California by Golf Pass. Timber Creek offers an unparalleled experience. Our revamped practice facility features a grass driving range, expanded putting greens, and a chipping area complete with sand traps. Whether you're a pro or just starting your golf journey, Timber Creek is the place to be. Visit us and discover why we're the talk of Sacramento and beyond. Unwind and tee off at Timber Creek Golf Course.
Dr. Ken Howachek and kinesiologist Kelsey Graham discuss the Good Feet store.
The foot has a lot of detail. It has a lot of complexity. There's a lot that can go wrong. A lot of problems start in the foot and end up elsewhere. Knee pain, hip pain, back pain. When aligning the feet properly, we can see relief elsewhere. And that's the beauty of the Good Feet Arch support. It can place the feet into their ideal position and gives them the balance, the support, the comfort, and the relief of the pain. The bottom line is that the Good Feet Arch support can be a highly effective pain relief solution when nothing else has worked.
The feet have a really big impact on how the rest of the body moves. The knees, the hips, the lower back especially. If the foot isn't properly aligned, all of these joints are going to function incorrectly. That results in a lot of muscle tension and chronic pain. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that the right arch supports can put the foot in its proper alignment. So all the joints up the rest of the body will be aligned properly as well. And when the body's aligned, we can reduce the risk of injury and chronic pain.
Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Modesto, Stockton, and Vacaville for a free fitting and test walk.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Fidian Fiber, Dawson Oil Company, and Good Guys Heating and Cooling.
For a precision-crafted performance, the decision is easy. A new Acura from Acura of Stockton. Get the driving experience you've been waiting for in a new Acura. Get the best selection and customer service you deserve from Acura of Stockton. Shop in person or use our online express store at AcuraofStockton.com. Acura of Stockton will buy your trade, even if you don't buy from us. Don't settle for less than precision-crafted performance of a new Acura from Acura of Stockton and AcuraofStockton.com.
This is Kenny and Jerry from Bell Brothers Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Everyone knows that a group of fish is called a school, but did you know a group of giraffes is called a tower? Or how about a murder of crows, a quiver of cobras, a shadow of jaguars, a shiver of sharks, or a zeal of zebras? Wild, huh? So what do you call a group of Bell Brothers plumbers? They don't fit into any of the traditional plumber stereotypes. They're clean and well-dressed. They're on time and courteous. They're well-trained and friendly. They're exactly the kind of people you'd be comfortable and confident to invite into your home. That's why we proudly call them our family of plumbers. If you need a drain cleared or any other plumbing service, we'll send one of the family right over to help you out. Call Bell Brothers at 916-444-1234, or you can find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
This segment is brought to you by Aztec Solar. Skip the sales pitch. Calculate your solar savings at yourpowersavings.com.
Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Harrison Barnes. We have a lot to say about Harrison Barnes on this show, as most Kings fans do. But one thing that we will always make sure we say about Harrison Barnes is that he is the model professional. He does things the right way. That's why we joke about him wearing a suit. And as far as what a GM looks for in a player, I think if a GM was on NBA 2K and could create a player just from a PR standpoint, Harrison Barnes would be at the top of the list. And now he is up for not one, but just 2 awards, Chris Watkins.
Yeah, that would be a really strange version of 2K, is if you were just like, forget all the stats. I want who's got the most charisma, who's got 99 charisma. That's right. I'm going to build a team full of just stand-up individuals. Wins and losses be damned. We're going to win that press conference. That's all that matters. HB is as you just outlined. I mean, he is the model citizen. He is the one who every single team would want a Harrison Barnes, if not multiple Harrison Barneses in their locker room. And the news that we learned today is definitely very, very representative of that, as HB has been announced to be a finalist for not 1, but 2 awards. And honestly, he's never won either of these, but they should be renamed the Harrison Barnes Award. He is a finalist for the 2023-24 Sportsmanship Award. The other finalist, there is a designated player from all of the divisions in the NBA, making divisions kind of useful. Tyrese Maxey, Jared Allen, Kevin Love, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Harrison Barnes, and Trey Jones are all of the finalists. Of course, we feel like HB is the best of those options. He's also in the running. Not only is he for sportsmanship, which shows how you treat other opponents,
right?
He is also a finalist for Teammate of the Year. All of these, I believe, are NBA PA awards. So all is voted and nominated by the players themselves. Harrison Barnes, again, finalist for the Twyman Stokes Teammate of the Year finalist award. It is Harrison Barnes, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, KCP, Mike Conley, Markelle Fultz, Al Horford, TJ McConnell, Jalen Williams of the Thunder, Dwight Powell, George Niang, and Larry Nance Jr. are the other finalists. So HB a finalist for Teammates and Sportsmanship of the Year awards.
That's just outstanding.
Doesn't get better.
That's why it's always been really tough with HB, man. I mean, you have somebody who just does so many things right off the court and on the court, but they're just situations to where I just want more of it. Yeah. It's never been about Harrison Barnes not being good enough. It's been about Harrison Barnes not being consistent enough.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that consistency, it can get a little confusing there. But here's an opportunity for Harrison Barnes, along with the rest of the team, to show up with Malik Monk not around right now, and same with Kevin Huerter. This is an opportunity for Harrison Barnes, and he balled out against the Jazz. What do you do tonight? That's the thing. We can't just sit here and talk about what he just did.
Right.
It's about what you are going to do next. You're only as good as your next performance. Let's hear from Harrison Barnes. He was asked about the mentality for the Kings right now and how he's viewing it with some of the guys being out.
When you try to take a long-term view of where things are at and the standings in the last, 3 games or 5 games or however you want to look at it, I think the thing for us to focus on is, the only way is through. Whether that's, we get the 6th seed, whether we get in the playing game, no matter who we see in the first round, whatever it is, it's through. And that's our mentality. That's what we feel like we are. We know that any given night, if we show up and we do things that we're supposed to do, we're going to be in good shape. And for these next 8 games and in the games after that, I think that's our focus. And we take this month as the positive steps that we're taking, but we know we need to continue to get better defensively and taking care of the ball on offense.
Well, that all starts tonight.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. And it starts with him, too. It starts with him and Keegan. To me, even though Kawhi Leonard's going to be out, I mean, if anything, that puts more pressure on both of them because now I feel like, you know, where you had both of those guys individually worried about their matchups, now I'm expecting them to help each other out. And then on the offensive end, we need to have production out of HB and Keegan, both of them need to have some sort of impact on the offensive end while still trying to shut off what the Clippers' best option is in Paul George. And that's no small task. They're probably going to have to, you know, go quarter by quarter or half by half in terms of trying to guard Paul George. But those two guys, man, they are going to be the key for the rest of this season. I've seen tons of people talking about, you know, with Malik out, Keegan clearly needs to take that scoring load and needs to become more of like an 18, 20 point per game scorer. That's like number one on my list of you just have to have now that Malik and Kevin are out is you've got to have, I guess it doesn't have to be Keegan, but Keegan's the one that makes the most sense. And we already were expecting a leap from him. Those guys have to be a better scorer. They both have to be big presences in the remainder of their games, not just tonight, but those two specifically need to be the Kings' most consistent players besides, of course, Domantas Sabonis, who we just know is going to bring it every night. Those two need to try and replicate as close to that as they can get.
When you have these guys playing at a high level and playing with the level of intensity, it's funny because we've joked about Keegan Murray and doing the slow-mo Euro step like Harrison Barnes. He almost has a fairly similar personality to Harrison Barnes. They're both very
Iowa
boys. Both Iowa boys, both pretty low key, both have to be told to be more aggressive at certain points in time. So it's funny that you don't necessarily want to deal with that again because we've already seen that movie before, no pun intended, with Harrison Barnes, but you have an opportunity. And if you can get over the hump with Keegan and maybe Harrison does his thing as well, you look at these guys and what they have night in, night out, when they're playing with the level of urgency, that starting five is ridiculous. And that starting five is going to be better, even though we just named off some of the games and none of the games are going to be easy. But if you actually look at that starting five compared to the other starting fives that they face moving forward, okay, the Clippers without Kawhi,
sure.
It's close, but I feel like we have to take the Kings starting five. Then you have the Knicks without OG. I'm taking the Kings.
Yeah, player for player.
Fine. Celtics don't have to do that. The Nets, I'm taking the Kings.
Yep.
The Thunder, that's a tough one.
I'm taking OKC.
Okay, fine. Well, now we're only at two.
Yeah.
We're only at two now. Pelicans, now we're at three. But then the Suns, basically you're looking at a situation where 5-3 shouldn't be crazy. Now, unfortunately, 5-3 might still end you up in the play-in.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
5-3 will get you the 7, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you might have to at this point just say seedings be damned. Like it's just about playing good.
Yeah.
Like it like, you know, where the chips fall at the end of the season, there's not really much you can do about it at this. You kind of already tricked off your opportunity to have your play justify where you're going to land. At this point, it's just playing your best basketball, figuring out however this team can maximize its potential. And you just have to be focused on playing the best basketball possible with this collection of guys. If you win those games, obviously fantastic, great, but you've got to start building. At this point, I mean, it was already going to be the case, but you need to start focusing more on your playoff situation, on how you're going to best utilize your guys. And obviously those ramp up games are going to be a huge indicator of what that looks like. It should have started a while ago, but no better time than the present to start now. I mean, you have to have your guys playing as close to playoff basketball as possible because you don't have the luxury of waiting for 2 weeks when the actual playoffs start.
No, not anymore.
Nope.
And the reason you're in that position is because you lost some games that you shouldn't have.
Exactly.
But at the same time, that doesn't mean you can't turn it around and everything is still right in front of you. Pocket watching when we get back. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Last season, the Sacramento Kings gave us a little bit of everything. A Pacific Division type GM of the Year, Coach of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year. all-stars and all NBA performers. Plus, we got to light the beam.
Here's a steal by Fox, a breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
What does this season have in store? Find out. Each and every Sacramento Kings game can be heard right here on your proud home of the Beam team, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
At Ashton Price, we get injury victims to yes. Experience, yes. Ashton & Price has been around for over 25 years. No more insurance companies? Yes. Our clients focus on getting better and we handle all the rest. Results? Yes. We've collected over $100 million for injury victims. No fee until we win? Yes. Our clients pay nothing until we win. Ashton & Price, the best at getting to yes. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for my good friends at American Energy. Now, I've told you this before, but this is what we call extending a good deal. Right now, American Energy Heat and Air is offering an HVAC diagnostic for $99. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Never mind. They're offering it free. It's a $99 value, but you get it for $0. Let the American Energy team test your system connections and all the moving parts of that system to ensure that it's functioning properly. Now, this is a limited time offer. Call today to schedule your appointment at 916-520-9990. Speak to the company that has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau that's been making the greater Sacramento area proud since 1981. 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more. And then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
I love this time of year when the azaleas begin to bloom and the singing birds' sweet dawn chorus remind us that blue skies and sunshine are at hand. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. In sports, the definition for the word master is one who's achieved a high degree of skill, and that will be on display in the highly anticipated golf tournament. In the furniture business, a master is a highly skilled craftsman, an artist even, whose work is coveted by those who appreciate design, quality, and durability. John Keyes was the mastermind of Naturewood Home Furnishings. He knew that you wanted your home to reflect your personal style, whether that was a plain coffee table or a masterpiece for you to enjoy forever. That's why when you walk into Naturewood Home Furnishings, you'll find the largest and best selection of the highest quality home furnishings in Northern California. Masterful. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Right now, Meta Chevy saves you $8,000 off MSRP on new 2024 half-ton Silverado LT Crew Cab 4-wheel drives after rebates. A Meta Chevy exclusive.
See dealer for details. Ends 4/30/24.
See all the savings at MetaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
A little bit of an update from Casey Pratt and the A's. I guess a statement just came out from the A's. Chris, you got that for us?
Yeah, this just came out 2 minutes ago, so there might be more news trickling out as we go here. But this is, again, from Casey Pratt saying that there's a statement from the A's, quote, "We appreciate Oakland's engagement, and also we are far apart on the terms needed to agree on an extension." So there's also word that, the officials that left the meeting said it was productive, but again says that the team said that the sides left, quote, "far apart." So
yeah,
sounds like there's some traction, but at the end of the day, no agreement met. And, for those who haven't quite been keeping up on it, the A's, or the city of Oakland, did recently release the terms at which they were negotiating with the A's, and it was going to be for a 3 to 5 year extension on the lease. The 3 years being what is being reported the Vegas move will be in. The 5 is kind of more as a, hey, if things go wrong with the building plan, then you will, kind of be insured to stay here as that stadium gets fixed. The big difference from the Oakland side is, or from the A's side, I guess, is currently the lease agreement is to pay $1 million. The A's only pay $1 million to rent out essentially the Coliseum. I believe that new figure that the city of Oakland is requesting moves from $1 million to, I think, $97 million. So that's a obviously pretty big jump in payment. So I think that's really where a lot of the separation lies at the moment.
So does it feel like a part 2 is going to come out soon of this, basically because we're so far apart, XYZ?
I would think so, but I'm who really knows with how this process goes. I would imagine, with all of this, I think that there will probably be some more noise from the Sacramento front. I mean, I've been hearing from tons of different sources that there's a lot of traction here in Sacramento in terms of movement. There's a lot of people from, the government side to, I've heard some people on just the sports side say that they're feeling like this thing is really moving positively in Sacramento's direction, but no official word yet. And, I would just tell you from experience with the Kings relocation thing, nothing is over until things are packed and buses are being moved. So, while it might seem bleak and might seem far apart on the A's front, crazier things have happened. Not much crazier, but crazier things have definitely happened. So while there is a lot of momentum on the Sacramento front, Oakland is still definitely at the negotiation table.
Crazy.
It's nuts. I mean, I think we're at the point where I don't think anything has ever even touched the mess that this has become. I mean, realistically, there's 4 cities who think that there's a non-zero chance that the A's will play in their city next year. I mean, you got Vegas isn't going to be next year, but they are under the impression the A's are moving there. Salt Lake City seems to think that they have a good shot at getting the team. Obviously, Oakland, Sacramento. That's 4 different places that are under, they feel like there's a non-zero chance that they will have the A's play there. So that feels a bit unprecedented.
And we will continue to monitor that situation as things come out. I don't know if it's done. I don't know if we're done getting news today. So be sure to keep it locked here, and we will continue to keep you updated on the most recent news. By the way, Law Murray of The Athletic, who covers the Clippers, will join us in about 10 minutes to talk Clippers and really, even the Paul George conversation. His name keeps getting thrown around. So we'll talk about this season, and we'll talk about the seasons in front of the Clippers to see what happens next. Into some pocket watching, the Pelicans lost to the Suns last night, and the Suns, like we said, this is what we wanted, right? If the Kings get on a heater, and the Mavs at this point just keep winning because whatever, and they get into that 5 seed, you're not done yet. You're not done yet, especially if the Pelicans continue to lose and you beat the Pelicans and you beat the Suns. A lot of winning needs to be done, but it is not completely out of the question. Tonight, Chris, Rockets at Timberwolves.
Ooh.
As the Rockets, their win streak is over. Still playing some good ball.
Yeah.
And Chris's favorite, Mavericks at Warriors.
Yeah. I don't really. I mean, I guess at this point, Dallas is so clear that you can. I'm not rooting for the Warriors, so I guess maybe you could. I wouldn't even use the term root, but maybe support Dallas in their winning effort, perhaps. But actually, maybe it depends. Honestly, this might depend on. And it sucks that we're starting to creep towards this conversation.
I know what
but,
you're going to say.
Warriors or Rockets, which one would you rather have in that 10 seed if you are going to be in a situation where you do kind of need to worry about that 9-10 matchup? There is a world where, as much as I know nobody out there wants to see the Kings versus the Warriors for the 10,000th time in,
Adam Silver
in
does.
50 days.
Yeah.
But, that might be where the Kings are most comfortable. The Warriors definitely are comfortable with that series. They're still probably going to say, oh, we beat them last year. We're not afraid of them this year. But, the Kings have done well in that matchup here recently, a lot better than what they've done against Houston. So, maybe you do root for, again, root isn't the right word, support Golden State's winning effort if it ultimately means that you feel the Kings have a better chance of making it out of that play-in situation.
I saw something from Anthony Slater.
Friend of the show, Anthony.
Friend of the show, of course. And it was basically who's in, who's out for the Mavs and Warriors. Jonathan Kuminga is questionable.
Okay, that's big.
Klay Thompson is probable.
Okay.
Saric is out, and Warrior fans are not happy with Dario Saric. That has not been exactly. They've just been continuing to look for just their European center that's going to stretch the floor.
That's right.
And they just continue to search and search and search. And it has not worked. I honestly thought that was going to work out pretty well.
I did too. I thought it was going to be the perfect guy. I mean, I think in one of the Kings games, he freaking killed the Kings.
That was the game.
It must have been the best game of the season, right?
That was the no DeAaron Fox.
I think so.
In the Bay.
Yeah.
And ultimately the Klay Thompson shot.
That's right.
To kind of end things. On the Mavs side, Derek Lively is questionable.
Oh my gosh.
And Josh Green is out.
Where has that been?
I know.
Yeah, we
that
could have used Derek Lively out for one game, and one of those, I guess, against Golden State, you don't really need a guy like Lively. You could probably expose them being so small, but ultimately it's not going to kill you to not have Lively out there. I mean, especially with how well Dallas is playing. I don't even have they won 10 in a row or something. I know yesterday, I think I said they had won 9 of their last 10. They're on fire right now. They're definitely the team that nobody wants to play. Is that 7 in a row? Is that in Golden State or is that in Dallas? Oh my gosh. Well,
in the Bay.
At least Dallas has probably become accustomed to this California weather at this point with how long they've stayed here. So
seriously,
I think I'm gonna end up pulling for Dallas in this one. But
you just think that it doesn't really matter whether the Warriors win or lose because Dallas is so far gone.
They're so far gone. It feels like they're out of the Kings conversation.
They are. You cannot. Those. We can move on, but those 2 games, man. I mean, literally.
We can talk about it in like a month, maybe. But
yeah, it is what it is.
Those
now.
2 games really are going to be the thing where that's when not hope, but you could say that's when all hope was lost.
Right. Well, it just removes. In a way, it removed your ability to control your destiny, and it also removed any buffer. You have to play some of the best ball. Like I said, 5-3 would be with this slate would be great.
That'd be great.
5-3, it probably gets you the 7.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe
depending
not.
on what the other
still
teams
give
do,
you an 8. Yeah,
which is just insane. But that is how some of these schedules work, and ultimately the Kings know what's in front of them, and maybe they get hot. And look, DeAaron Fox, and we talked about this yesterday. You got to start looking at this as an opportunity.
Yes, exactly.
You have to start looking at this as a way to say anybody that's been on Stiles and Watkins as a caller or a texter or anybody in the Kings media that or fan base that doesn't think that I'm that guy yet.
Yep.
This is an opportunity for me. We've seen other stars not play without a fully loaded, and you still have a double machine.
Sure do.
You're missing Malik Monk, sure.
Yep.
You're missing a 6th man who probably could start,
Yep.
but you still got Sabonis.
Yep.
It would be a different conversation to me if Sabonis was out.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Completely. Because that's a huge engine that you don't have, but you still, the car's still got an engine.
Yeah.
And DeAaron, you could definitely be the thing that puts that car into first place. And, you know, we've seen DeAaron kind of do this these past couple of years, especially since Sabonis has got here. Kind of lets Sabonis cook a bit in the first.
Mm-hmm.
DeAaron starts to kind of pick it up as the game goes on. Fourth quarter is his quarter.
Right,
we know
right.
that. These are situations where that can't be the formula anymore. It's De'Aaron Fox has to have his foot on the gas first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter especially. But, you know, without Malik to provide that secondary pop in the first quarter, that needs to just be De'Aaron having his foot on the gas the entire game.
Yeah.
There can't be any lulls. You can't have any, what did De'Aaron really do this quarter? It's got to be just putting it on, stacking up those points quarter after quarter after quarter, and, you know, hopefully doing it while still having a good shot selection. We've seen De'Aaron has fallen in love with the three a couple games. That can't be the elevated shot attempts that we're looking at. It's got to be at the rim shot attempts. I don't want to see De'Aaron taking 12 to 15 threes in a game.
No, when we return, we will be joined by Law Murray of The Athletic, who covers the Clippers, and we will have a nice conversation with him about the Clippers, the future of the Clippers, and the future of that roster. And, of course, the game tonight. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Let's go, Sacramento.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their valuable tools, but to protect their professional reputations. For pros, the WeatherGuard badge makes a statement about what drives them. It says, bring it on. Been there, done that. We've got your back, without saying a word. And the folks at WeatherGuard, they're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. See what it means to be driven at weatherguard.com.
Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T level is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They're in Midtown in the Cal Sutter Medical Building and also offer telemedicine appointments. Plus, with free shipping directly to you, Revive takes the hassle out of treating low T and ED. Schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation today. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-497-1990. That's 800-497-1990. 800-497-1990.
Dr. Ken Howachek and kinesiologist Kelsey Graham discuss the Good Feet store.
The foot has a lot of detail. It has a lot of complexity. There's a lot that can go wrong. A lot of problems start in the foot and end up elsewhere. Knee pain, hip pain, back pain. When aligning the feet properly, we can see relief elsewhere. And that's the beauty of the Good Feet Arch support. It can place the feet into their ideal position and gives them the balance, the support, the comfort, and the relief of the pain. The bottom line is that the Good Feet arch support can be a highly effective pain relief solution when nothing else has worked.
The feet have a really big impact on how the rest of the body moves. The knees, the hips, the lower back especially. If the foot isn't properly aligned, all of these joints are going to function incorrectly. That results in a lot of muscle tension and chronic pain. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that the right arch supports can put the foot in its proper alignment. So all the joints of the rest of the body will be aligned properly as well. And when the body's aligned, we can reduce the risk of injury and chronic pain.
Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Modesto, Stockton, and Vacaville for a free fitting and test walk.
The final game of the homestand concludes Tuesday as the Los Angeles Clippers pay a visit to Golden One Center and the Sacramento Kings.
Sabonis rolling in the paint, eludes the defender, a two-hand flush is thrown down off the dribble.
Catch all the play-by-play starting at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
All guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK-AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sactown Sports.
Law Murray of The Athletic covering the Clippers. Law, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be up in state capital one more time.
Yes, definitely. Let's start here, man. The Clippers, they got off to a not necessarily a hot start, but earlier in the season they were rocking and rolling, kind of cooled off a bit. Now they're basically locked into that 4 seed, right? It would be pretty hard for them to catch the Timberwolves and that other group of 3 teams. What were the expectations going into this season?
The expectation going into this season was that they could be a top 3 seed. And that was what they were going to push for. Now, the reality is the Western Conference is a lot better this year than it was last year. And I think that the Clippers gave themselves a chance to at least get home court advantage in the first round, to stay in the play-in tournament. I think that's what they wanted. They wanted to compete, and they knew that they had a trade that was going to set them back a little bit. That's what happened when James Harden got here. But to their credit, they're in a position where, because they were playing so well between the beginning of December through the Grammy trip, they're in a better spot now than they were this time last year.
Law, I'm curious. I mean, we just got the news, and I saw you tweeted it out that Kawhi is going to be out tonight. This season has been the most that Kawhi's played since the 16-17 season. First off, I mean, what happened with his injury? Did that just kind of spark up? And then second off, do you feel like the Clippers have fully taken advantage of a healthy Kawhi Leonard this year?
So I cover the Clippers, so that means I'm never, ever comfortable. Okay, when it comes to,
I know how that goes.
Exactly, I got people already mad at me, saying, "Man, you mentioned how they're fully healthy going into April." So, first of all, don't blame me. I just am here. Okay,
just reporting.
Right, I'm not doing enough wood. Okay, so give me some 5 knuckles or whatever gloves, and we'll be good. But I think that the reason why the Clippers have been as good as they are is because they've maximized those guys. And yeah, there's been some games, some very silly, unserious performances, especially at home in March. I think the game that the Kings went down there in February, that was a rough performance for the Clippers overall. So there certainly could be games where you look back and you want them back, but I believe that it's been great for Kawhi to play as much as he has. I'm not too worried about Kawhi until he misses like a week. Excuse me, multiple games. And they have a big stretch coming up, 5 games in 7 days, starting with the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets, where they can tie that regular season series with a win. So part of me feels like this is a long road trip. I don't think they're worried. I mean, they obviously want to win and beat the Kings, but I think they really want to make sure that Kawhi is as fresh as he can be for what is going to be a big front end of a back-to-back. That's what I'm thinking, but we got to see.
Talking to Law Murray of The Athletic, who covers the Clippers. Law, when the James Harden thing happened and you guys were able to acquire James Harden, what were your initial thoughts, and has he exceeded those expectations?
I think James was mainly a ceiling raiser. That's what Lawrence Frank, the president of basketball operations, called James. Like Kawhi and Paul being the ultimate ceiling raisers, and then James being the kind of player that was going to maximize those guys. Offensively, he's done that. I mean, when they were playing the best basketball in the league for those 2.5 months or so, it was James basically orchestrating and making it easier for Kawhi to get to his spots and to do what he does at a high level. Drawing double teams and playing off of that allows someone like Paul George to really cook, get some of the easiest shots that he's ever gotten as a Clipper. And then the other guys, especially when James puts his head down, gets to the paint, you know, you got rolling bigs like if it's Zubac. He's having one of his best offensive seasons, if not his best of his career. We just saw that again in Charlotte. Zoo's coming off of a season-high performance, and Zoo actually makes free throws now. So that's been a threat. Like, James has worked with those big men, and so that's been the ceiling, if you will. Like, the ceiling is this team is unstoppable offensively. Now, there's been some floor that's been explored. This team isn't as deep, and this team can be absolutely cooked on defense, especially when they turn the ball over. James is a big part of that. When James turns the ball over, they're not getting back on defense. Like, you can run, you can go back in time. Anytime you play a James Harden team, whether it's the Clippers, whether it's last year's Sixers, whether it was the Brooklyn Nets from 3 years ago, just run on those guys. So that's been the key. How can they maintain a relatively simple but powerful way of winning games when teams can work to take it away from you? And so that's the challenge that the Clippers are going to have going into the playoffs. But I think that they got what they needed out of James. Think about if they didn't make the trade. They would have a bunch of power forwards, and who knows if they would have been actually the type of team that will stay out the play-in tournament.
Law, I'm curious. I saw that Russ had missed 12 games before coming back last week. Just at this point, like what is Russ's role with that team, and you know, like what exactly is what does he bring to that team that they don't really have if he's not there?
Russell Westbrook is your backup point guard nominally, but the thing that is the most impressive about Russ has been his willingness to do the things that perhaps in his star part of his career, like when I say star part, I mean making the All-Star team, being an All-NBA, obviously was an MVP player, and the player who had the ball in his hands more than anybody on his teams, right? That's not the case in this team. There's so many more playmakers, so many more scorers, and so many more guys just simply playing more than Russell Westbrook, that Russ has to find other ways to contribute positively, and he's done that at a high level. You know, he's been a catalyst in many of the team's small lineups where he can guard anybody. He can guard guards. He can guard wings. He can guard bigs. He's the guy that they say, if we get stops, we're pushing the pace, we're getting out and running. And he's able to basically key that part of the team. And he's a guy who, again, he can get to the paint pretty much at a higher level than anybody on the team. And that's valuable because paint touches lead to shots to yourself or shots to your teammates. So what you want is maybe more minutes for Russ, especially with Kawhi Leonard being out. Someone's got to guard DeAaron Fox. And I'm looking to see if Russ, who hasn't played 20 minutes in a game, since he came back, he's barely playing 20 minutes a game since the All-Star break before his injury. So I want to see if they utilize him with Kawhi out to see if they can get a little more resistance against a guy in DeAaron Fox that Ron Lue said that they haven't been able to stop since he's been coaching the team.
Talking to Law Murray of The Athletic, who covers the Clippers. Law, a name that has popped up, and I'm sure this isn't a new thing, but Paul George's name continues to come up in trade discussions. And most recently, I saw the 76ers may look to try to add him. What do you think his future is in LA, and why does his name continue to come up?
His name continues to come up because he could be available. He has a contract decision to make. Mm-hmm. It's not just a decision with his option, which he can pick up the last year of his option, or he could decline it, become a free agent there. But there's an extension on the table. It's been on the table since the summertime. And Kawhi signed his extension, took less, because the reality is Kawhi don't got to worry about getting traded. We heard Paul George trade rumors last summer, and they ultimately didn't trade him, but they obviously took the temperature. So if you're Paul George, you're like, well, why would I take less only to have the team that I extend with pick where I'm going to go if he does get traded? And that's a challenging thing. I think all around, the Clippers are going to want Paul George back, but they got to have Paul George back at the right price. Paul George is not going to want to leave LA. Like, he's playing in front of his family and friends here. Like, actually playing in front of his family. I'm not talking about on TV. Like, they at the games, bro. So, like, he's going to want to play here. But they have unfinished business. So we can talk about what other teams that ain't got nothing that to look forward to, what they're going to do. They're looking forward to signing Paul George. They ain't got no realistic championship aspirations. The Clippers do. And so Paul, in the short term, has to worry about Paul George. And that means you want the best value for yourself. That's taking care of business with this Clippers team. Don't leave anything unturned, whether it's your time to go or not. And in the meantime, this is how the NBA works. The NBA, unfortunately, we're driven by more crap that happens when the game stops being played than the actual game itself. And so that means people are not as interested in Paul George trying to put on in the playoffs a postseason where he hasn't played in 3 years in the playoffs. They're more interested in, what team might Paul George go to? So that's the business. That's how it is.
Law Murray, thank you so much for The Athletic covering the Clippers. This was awesome, man. So are you up? You said you're in the Capitol right now. You're in Sacramento?
I'm literally hanging out outside that IMAX theater, man.
There you
right
go.
down K Street.
There you go, Law. Thank you.
13th and K, man. I'm out here in these streets.
There you go. Thank you so much, and we'll see you tonight at the game.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you, Law.
When we return, continuing our Clippers preview, also a special edition of Frank Facts to preview the game tonight. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out SactownSports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and The Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on SactownSports.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave inviting you to make the switch to electric this spring and save big with American Energy. Stay ahead of those spiking energy bills this summer with up to $9,000 in rebates on a new ultra-high efficiency comfort system. American Energy is providing huge rebates from SMUD as well as spring specials by installing one of many incredibly efficient AC options available to you right now. Get rid of those fluctuating gas bills in the winter and switch to year-round all-electric with American Energy. Let them perform a free in-home energy efficiency analysis and see where they can help you save for the warmer months ahead. These guys are the best. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ from the Better Business Bureau. Learn more by calling 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Join Alan Stiles, Chris Watkins, and the Sactown Sports Street Team on Monday, April 8th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Fieldhouse American Sports Pub for some basketball madness and their mouth-watering full menu. 1310 Fulton Avenue. See you there.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Thank you again to Law Murray of The Athletic, covers the Clippers up here in the capital, hanging out in Sacramento.
That's
we
right.
will see him tonight. A lot of great info there. And Chris, not going to do it yet. It's not summer, but Paul George, come on down.
I would love it. I mean, Paul George has always been the guy that I've looked at where it's like, if the Kings could just get a guy like that, that could really turn things around. I mean, Paul George, he does everything. Like he is exactly who you would want.
He's
Maybe
33.
Yeah, that would be definitely the counter. You're not getting prime Paul George, but even then, like, I mean, Paul George in terms of, you know, hierarchy in the league, like he is better than Rudy Gay was, you know, when he was here in Sacramento. So you're talking about adding a guy who could be your third best player or maybe your second or first scoring option that really elevates your talent level here. And, you know, I would imagine that would have to come because Malik Monk is gone. But if there's any way that the Kings could just have a super offseason, I think retaining Malik Monk and bringing on Paul George, that's how maybe we start to talk about that C-word championship.
It's crazy how tough it is to win a championship.
It's only one team wins every year.
I mean, we're looking here at a Paul George and a Kawhi Leonard, and obviously James Harden is new to the mix, but you would think having two of those guys, they haven't even gotten to a finals.
Nope, not one.
Not even gotten to a finals.
I would have lost everything that I own. If you would have told me, I remember the day Kawhi and Paul George signed with the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember exactly where I was. I remember exactly, not the exact time, but it was at night. And I remember watching Woj on ESPN and thinking, league's cooked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're done. There's no need to play it. You have two forwards, two of the most elite guys. I don't know what you're supposed to do. And the fact that they have 0 finals appearances, only 1 conference final appearance, and that's in the bubble. The fact that that's how this thing has ended, or I guess it's not over yet, but like the fact that we're 4 or 5 years into this thing and that's the best that they have to show for it is criminal. I mean, you know, that there is no excuse besides injuries, which is the excuse, but it's more of a reason. That's the only reason why this has happened. And, you know, even now, this is the healthiest the Clippers have even been. It's the worst season to finally be at your best because everybody else has talent too.
Yeah. And now you have Kawhi Leonard, who might be dealing with a right knee soreness thing. We don't know how difficult it's going to be for him to come back from that. Yeah. And that goes to the question of, if you're Steve Ballmer and you're about to build this, it's going to be very similar to what happened with the Warriors. They build Chase as Kevin Durant leaves.
Yeah.
The Clippers could build this awesome new arena, the Intuit Dome, with Paul George leaving. And it's just Kawhi. I mean, what's Kawhi? Is he 32, 33 yet? Something like that?
There, yeah.
So
his knees are pushing 40.
Do you think that Ballmer looks at the time with, not that he needs any more money per se, not pocket watching, but do you think he looks at Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and would he consider the time that they were on the Clippers together? If let's say they lose in the conference finals this season, do you think they would consider it a success? And I guess the other part of that question is, how much is weighing on this specific season?
Yeah. I think they would probably, I mean, I don't think you can view it as successful. I think Ballmer would probably spin it as success, but ultimately, I mean, the fact that those guys haven't even been to the finals, like that's just an absolute failure. I think that Ballmer is going to spend every single dollar he has to keep that team together. Law definitely made it sound like he doesn't believe Paul George is going anywhere. I think that's the route that makes the most sense. I mean, you mentioned the Intuit Dome. They're trying to sell out that thing every single game. They want to be the biggest show in town with the Lakers obviously kind of doing their thing and LeBron on the way out. They're viewing this as the Clippers' time to kind of slip in and get some fans. I'm not going to say they're going to try and take LA, but they're definitely going to try and get their foothold on a bit of that LA crowd. And the only way you're going to do that is by bringing stars and by winning games. And their best route of doing that is by, even though it hasn't worked, you got to just keep re-upping, because you got to believe if these guys are healthy at some point, it's going to work out for you.
Yeah. I'm looking around the league and just thinking it's crazy to think a team could have Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and I know it's not the 2010s anymore, but Kawhi Leonard, Paul George,
nuts,
James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and you're looking around thinking,
coached by Ty Lue,
and you're looking around thinking, maybe they need to add something this summer. That's nuts.
It's nuts. It shouldn't be that way. I mean, they have more than enough talent. I don't know why. I mean, I guess they maybe just need a point guard, like someone who stirs the drink. I guess that's the idea of James Harden. But I mean, if it's not, to your point, if it's not this year, I don't know when it's going to be. You have Paul George and Kawhi as healthy as they've ever been. You have a point guard in James Harden. You've got Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. Nobody has that luxury. Yeah. You got two centers in Daniel Tyson and Vitsa Zubac, who that's 48 minutes of not great, definitely not elite, but like that's good center play for 48 minutes. Mm-hmm. If it's not this year, and I didn't even mention my guy Norm Powell coming off the bench. Right. Like they have enough firepower to get it done. This is where we start to maybe have the conversation of cursed franchises. And we can't forget the Clippers still are the Clippers, and you can put lipstick on the pig as much as you want. And this is, I probably, those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. Being a Kings fan, shouldn't really be talking about cursed franchises, but the Clippers do have a really long history of everything we think about the Kings and all of their misfortunes. The Clippers also have gone through a lot of really, really, really bad times.
Yeah,
and
they have.
I think this is kind of in addition to that of, even when y'all are great,
that's what. Yeah,
Clippers are always going to Clipper,
because the Kings have never been in a situation. They've never had a Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. They never had what the Clippers have as a roster at the same time in Sacramento. They've never had
early
that.
2000s. I mean, the Weber, Bibby.
Well, they tried to create, the Clippers created that, and then they still can't get over the hump. And I don't know that if they had anybody as good as Kawhi Leonard.
Maybe C-Web at his time, like in terms of the pantheon, like he might have been, Kawhi's a top 10 player, closer to 10. C-Web's probably the same.
What I'm saying is that I think the Clippers, based on pound for pound, the moves that they've made, could actually be more cursed because they've taken bigger swings.
Yes, absolutely.
Than the Kings have. And look at Tyrese Halliburton, who nobody is making those jokes anymore because he cooled off a bit. And when he heats up next season, those jokes will come back. But nobody is talking about, if they don't do anything, the Clippers, and they go ahead and Paul George walks. Meanwhile, you have the Thunder with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who can win an MVP.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to talk about that?
Nope. Well, and it would be even crazier. Paul George has the opportunity to do the funniest thing possible and go back to OKC. So you give up all of those draft picks, and what happens? Paul George goes right back to OKC. Maybe even they win a title at that point.
No, stop
and
it.
Things have a funny way of working themselves back around. But it's definitely interesting what's going to happen with them, because you're right. Like, I mean, if they lose Paul George for nothing, this thing's a complete failure. And that's when, if you're relying on, if your team is relying on Kawhi Leonard to play as many games as possible and take you to the promised land, I don't know what you're actually rooting for, because that's just not going to happen at this point in time. At this point in his career, he cannot carry a team for 82 games and then another 20 in the playoffs. He's just not capable of doing that. And, I think you're right. If it's not this year, I don't know when it's going to happen for the Clippers.
I don't think it is going to happen for the Clippers. When we return, Frank Facts.
That's right.
Also, an NBA great retires. Great, maybe with a question mark. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The final game of the homestand concludes Tuesday as the Los Angeles Clippers pay a visit to Golden One Center and the Sacramento Kings.
It's fourth quarter Fox time. He's doubled, throws a pass cross court to Keegan, steps to his left, launches a three. He's got the triple. It's the fourth one from downtown in 5 attempts by Keegan Murray. And the Kings have tied it at 101.
Catch all the play-by-play starting at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt!
Switch to Jackson Hewitt and we'll beat what you paid last year, even if you filed online. Ain't nothing to it. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and pay less for tax prep, guaranteed. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
If spring allergies keep you trapped inside, then you need Navage Nasal Care to keep you breathing clearly and enjoying all the beauties of spring. Navage helps clear nasal passages that are often clogged because of seasonal allergies. Navage gently flushes a pure, refreshing saline solution through your nasal passages to clear out congestion, sucking out that springtime pollen and other irritants trapped in your nose. Navage is available online at Navage.com or in stores at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Navage, Navage.
It's a myth to think you don't play golf well enough to get fitted for golf clubs. The professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio would argue that playing the game with golf clubs properly fitted to your body and swing characteristics is the best way to improve your game and have more fun on the golf course. With a professional staff of fitters, all the major brands of equipment, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan, the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is worth a look. See for yourself, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Schedule your fitting at 916-808-2531, 808-2531.
It's time to trade in and trade up at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has a selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com. It's all a click away.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own loan report.
It's a myth to think you don't play golf well enough to get fitted for golf clubs. The professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio would argue that playing the game with golf clubs properly fitted to your body and swing characteristics is the best way to improve your game and have more fun on the golf course. With a professional staff of fitters, all the major brands of equipment, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan, the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is worth a look. See for yourself, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Schedule your fitting at 916-808-2531, 808-2531.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Fitty and Fiber, Dawson Oil Company, and Good Guys Heating and Cooling.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sactown Sports 1140.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
We have some news from our Carmichael Dave. This is from Carmichael Dave talking about Casey Pratt, who fired up a YouTube video regarding the A's meeting with Oakland and Sacramento. This is Dave saying, good stuff from Casey here. Agree wholeheartedly. As for progress, Oakland and the A's are still quite a ways apart, which they literally said. But then Dave goes on to say, they meet with Sacramento tomorrow. All signs point to a deal being struck and an announcement either end of week or early next week.
Wow. Thanks for telling us, Dave.
That's a lot.
Wow.
That's a lot.
And, we know, obviously, Carmichael Dave is a well-sourced individual, so I would imagine that's all.
He's all in now.
Board. Yeah, I mean, that definitely seems like, I know Dave isn't quite Woj, but that's about you're not just going to come out there and say that is all I will say on that. I feel like that definitely makes me believe that that's probably where this.
That's what it sounds like to me,
right?
That's what it sounds like to me. So there you have it. We will keep you all in the loop on this, and I'm sure Dave will keep you in the loop in the morning show as well as we get Chris Watkins too. Some Frank facts.
That's right. Not only can you catch after the games Frankie's recap of the games, but beforehand on SactownSports.com, which is just a fantastic website. You can find other articles from Frankie Cardicelli, find articles from Brendan Nunez and our guy Emil Fergoso as well as our good friend Joe Giroz. You can find all that at SactownSports.com. You can also find previews of, especially down the stretch here, I'm sure Frankie's going to make it a point to preview all of these games as in-depth as he can, as he did with tonight's game. Let's get into it with our Frankie facts. Starting with the Kings at 43-31 today. Enter play as the 8th seed in the Western Conference, sitting a half game behind the 7th-seeded Suns and a game and a half behind the 6th seed New Orleans Pelicans. 6 of Sacramento's final 8 games will be against teams that are currently in the postseason mix. So when we've talked about, the Lakers and, even the Suns stretch at the end of the year, all of these teams, the Kings are definitely maybe not to Phoenix level, but just below that when it comes to strength of schedule. It's not going to be easy the rest of this way. Over the past 21 games, the Clippers have allowed opponents to shoot 40.3% on 35 attempts per game from three-point range. That's sounding awful Sacramento Kingsy to me. Sacramento is due for a breakthrough, Frankie writes, against the Clippers defense that has allowed them to shoot nearly 43%. They have shot 42.7% from three over their past 15 games. Sacramento holds a 32-11 record when shooting 35% or better from three. That's not that high of a mark. And, again, when the Clippers are allowing every team, we've been through this, okay, here in Sacramento, when every team walks in to play against you and all of a sudden becomes the best three-point shooting team in the league, crazy things happen. So, definitely the Kings need to, it might not have been pretty all the time, but I would expect the Kings to get a lot closer to that 43-point attempt number than what they have been here recently, as that seems to be the formula to take down the Clippers. We mentioned in our interview with Law Murray, the Clippers were in first place. Yes, first place in the Western Conference in early February. They have since gone 13-12 since then and have fallen to the 4th seed. These guys are definitely letting go of that rope quite a bit. We know that they're capable of being one of the best teams in the West, but have definitely slipped here as of late. The Kings have converted just 33% of their attempts from deep against the Clippers this season. That's the 3rd lowest three-point percentage against the Los Angeles defense this season, minimum of 3 head-to-head games. So even though the Clippers have allowed a ton from 3, especially here recently, the Kings have not converted well at all from beyond the perimeter against the Clippers. And I think a big part of that is because the Clippers have an insane amount of length, and that really bothers the Kings shooters. So hopefully, again, that 35% number is the one that you're really looking at for tonight. Frankie goes on to write, good things happen for Sacramento when Keegan and HB both play well, and they have been largely involved here as of late. The Kings this season, when Keegan Murray scores 20 plus, they are 12-5, a 70% win percentage. When HB scores 15 or more, the Kings are 18-5, a 78% win percentage. So those two having big scoring nights, not even big, those honestly need to be the levels met at this point in the season.
That's just what it is.
15 and 20 from those guys, that needs to be penciled in every single game, and the Kings have great records when they do so. Let's see here. He writes, DeAaron Fox, since the start of last season versus LA, which has been 7 games, is averaging 30 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, 1.5 steals on 55% from the field against LA. So he's kind of killed them, and that makes sense. They don't really have much defensive presence, especially at the point guard position. So talk about DeAaron and Sabonis stepping up big. DeAaron has already played really well against the Clippers. They don't really meet much of a force when they go against him. He's got to attack. Got to get 30-plus easy tonight. In 2 of the 3 matchups against the Clippers this season, Fox has scored 33 or more, including a 40-point outing on November 29th. If Fox, who has scored 30-plus points in a game just once since March 8th, is due for a breakout game, Tuesday seems like as good of a time as any. That is all from our guy, Frankie Cardicelli. And those are your Frank facts heading into tonight's game against the Clippers.
You know, we have somebody on the text line who said that they were from the 209 saying that they were disagreeing with us earlier in the show when we were talking about DeAaron just kind of being a guy and talking about his scoring. They say, I totally disagree. He needs to keep those assists up and be a solid scorer. Just look at the win-loss percentage when he has over 9 assists. We're not necessarily saying that he's got to score 30, 40 a night. It's all about if he's down to 24, 25, then you better have 10 assists or something like that, 9, 10, something like that. You just need a full-on game. You can't. There is no time for a 24 and a 6.
Nope.
You can't have that. So I agree with you, 209. We're not obsessing over the scoring. I think it might be necessary. It's got to come from somewhere. Chris and I mean, this is a perfect time.
Let's do it.
And we'll do more of it on the other side here. But essentially, you're trying to make up for, call it 16 points, right? It's 15. We'll round up to 15 point something, or the points that Malik was averaging. So we need to find that 15 points somewhere. Somehow. So if it comes from DeAaron's passing, that can also be a thing. DeAaron, what is he averaging? 25 right now? Or
he is
26?
at 26.4.
Okay, so you already have that baked in. I don't think maybe throw 4 more points on there. DeAaron averaging 30 points, and then that drops it down to, okay, you need 11 points left. If, like you said, Harrison Barnes and Keegan Murray, you have 11 points left. That's the 2 of them just averaging 5 points more than they're currently averaging, or you could split that.
Sure.
I'll even split that lower and say, okay, now after that, you just have 5 more throughout the rest of the roster.
Yep. It could be Sasha. It could be Trey.
It could be anybody. Could be Trey. Could be Sasha.
Davion.
Keon.
Going from 0 to 2.
And obviously, when you say it like that, it sounds a lot easier than reality.
Absolutely.
But on paper, why not?
No, I mean, I think the problem would be those are the points, but Malik also still is getting 5 assists a game as well. And that's, anywhere from 10 to 15 extra points in a game. And so how do you get those points as well? And, maybe you don't have to score. You don't have to fill all of those points if you take away some. If you're a better defensive team because you don't have Malik and Kevin out there, well, then your number that you need to hit becomes lesser as well. But to the De'Aaron Fox point, I actually left this part out of Frank Facts. Frankie writes in his article, in the past recent weeks, the all-star guard, who is De'Aaron Fox, all-NBA guard, I should say, is averaging 22.9 points per game on 42% from the field in his last 12 games. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. 23 points per game is just, especially with where these guys are at right now. And I know those numbers aren't with the current situation, but without Malik, without Kevin, and, even with, I know Trey and Sasha had a nice return, but you can't bank on those guys to hit the ground running here after they've missed the amount of time that they've missed. So, De'Aaron's got to be better than 22.9 points per game. He's got to be a lot closer to that 27, 28, 30 number. And absolutely, he's got to get the assists up as well. He's had a lot of those games recently, but I looked up the number that texter is referring to. Kings are 6-2 this season when De'Aaron has 9 or more assists. So that's definitely a number that you're going to want to have to look out for is can you get De'Aaron? And I'm actually looking at it here. The real number should be 7. I mean, even 7 wins, or 7 assists. There's been 23 games this season. De'Aaron has had 7 or more assists. Let me count the losses here. 1, 2. They only have 3 losses this season when De'Aaron has 7 or more assists. So maybe that's really the number to look at.
7 assists. You can say if you're at 7 assists or more, sure. 20, 24, 25 is fine. Yeah, but 22 points.
Yeah.
is not going to cut it.
That's not cutting it.
It's not going to cut
not.
it. It's easier. And we had a caller yesterday, 916-339-1140. If you want to be part of the conversation, all guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. We had a caller yesterday say, well, why are we talking about the bench players and why are we not talking about the starters? We're talking about everybody.
Everybody.
It's just
everybody.
It's got to come from somewhere.
Yes.
It's got.
Well, and the easiest thing for making those guys' lives easier, we talked about it yesterday. If DeAaron goes off, you know what that does? It draws a lot of attention to DeAaron Fox, which means other people are going to get open looks. So while it might seem like, oh yeah, like stop focusing on the stars, there's 5 guys out there, all that stuff. By DeAaron being great, by DeAaron being the best player on the floor, we talk about blitzes and getting ball out of this guy's hand. And you know how sometimes it's a catch-22 because yes, you get it out of his hand, but you're then leaving a guy open. That's the situation the Kings need to be putting teams in, is saying, look, DeAaron Fox is killing us.
Yeah.
Anybody but him needs to be the case for other teams. And you see how when teams do it against the Kings, how much it throws them into disarray. Time for the Kings to put that ball in the other team's court. Look what happens when you're focused so much on DeAaron Fox, and look how much it opens up. I think DeAaron shooting well and scoring a ton of points, yes, it's obviously good for his game, but I do think that there's an effect of how well that helps his other teammates as well, which is what Mike Brown was talking about the other day with Fox and Sabonis. Not just scoring, but how can you help get your other guys going as well?
Coming up next, should Malik Monk still win Sixth Man of the Year? Also, Brandon Ayuk has some things to say regarding his future with the 49ers, and an NBA great retires. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Dr. Ken Howachek and kinesiologist Kelsey Graham discuss the Good Feet store.
The foot has a lot of detail. It has a lot of complexity. There's a lot that can go wrong. A lot of problems start in the foot and end up elsewhere. Knee pain, hip pain, back pain. When aligning the feet properly, we can see relief elsewhere. And that's the beauty of the Good Feet arch support. It can place the feet into their ideal position and gives them the balance, the support, the comfort, and the relief of the pain. The bottom line is that the Good Feet arch support can be a highly effective pain relief solution when nothing else has worked.
The feet have a really big impact on how the rest of the body moves. The knees, the hips, the lower back especially. If the foot isn't properly aligned, all of these joints are going to function incorrectly. That results in a lot of muscle tension and chronic pain. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that the right arch supports can put the foot in its proper alignment. So all the joints up the rest of the body will be aligned properly as well. And when the body's aligned, we can reduce the risk of injury and chronic pain.
Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Modesto, Stockton, and Vacaville for a free fitting and test walk.
I love this time of year when the azaleas begin to bloom and the singing birds' sweet dawn chorus remind us that blue skies and sunshine are at hand. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. In sports, the definition for the word master is one who's achieved a high degree of skill, and that will be on display in the highly anticipated golf tournament. In the furniture business, a master is a highly skilled craftsman, an artist even, whose work is coveted by those who appreciate design, quality, and durability. John Keyes was the mastermind of Naturewood Home Furnishings. He knew that you wanted your home to reflect your personal style, whether that was a plain coffee table or a masterpiece for you to enjoy forever. That's why when you walk into Naturewood Home Furnishings, you'll find the largest and best selection of the highest quality home furnishings in Northern California. Masterful. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
You know the saying, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Kenny and Jerry here from Bell Brothers. And when it comes to air conditioning tune-ups and repairs, it's true.
Sure, I can tell you how great our techs are, how they're experienced, dedicated, and trained to do the job right the first time. Make no mistake, our techs are great. But the way you'll know they care is in the details.
They show it by arriving on time, in clean trucks, wearing clean uniforms. They're clean-cut, friendly, and courteous. They communicate clearly and will give you a price up front, in writing, so there are no surprises.
You'll know they care because they will treat you like they care. And like I said, they're also really good at doing the job right the first time.
Call Bell Brothers today to schedule an $87 precision tune-up. Our number is 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Maida Chevy saves you $8,000 off MSRP on every new Silverado LT and RST half-ton diesel in stock after rebates. A Maida Chevy exclusive. See all the truck season savings at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See dealer for details. Ends 4/30/24.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
We have a lot of legacy conversations on this show, and I don't even know what Kawhi Leonard's legacy. I think I have more of an idea of Kawhi Leonard's legacy than, say, a James Harden. I think that's another confusing one. They're just that team.
Even Russ.
It's just confusing.
Paul George, never won a ring, never even touched the final.
No. And you have somebody who did do both of those things, 4-time All-Star and 2-time NBA champion. Rajon Rondo announces his retirement. And Chris, you talk about a guy who really, I don't even know, what is he a good enough playmaker? And I know his three-point shooting got a little bit better towards the end of his career because he had no choice. But Rajon Rondo on the Celtics, when he literally couldn't shoot, but ridiculous playmaker, has the position, or people will say Steph Curry, it's changed the game. Has the point guard position changed so much to where Rajon Rondo would have a tougher time now? Or was he so good at playmaking, he'd still be a dude?
It's a great question. I think, unfortunately, Lonzo was the answer, and we just don't really have any answer because there's just the reality. Nobody plays that way anymore. It's not even a matter of, it doesn't really work because I don't even know what I guess Chris Paul.
But at the same time, nobody plays like that. But then the OGs will sit there and say, well, those aren't point guards. So how many actual point guards are there in the league right now? The two Jones brothers.
Yeah, I mean, those two, in the traditional sense, I mean, they really don't exist. Especially as a guy like Rondo, where you're not trying to score. If Rondo scores 14 points, it's whoa, Rondo gave us a lot of scoring tonight. Ricky Rubio, same thing, but they were kind of same era too.
Right.
Where it's that post Jason Kidd, where, J Kidd is definitely probably the model of, you're just really setting the table up for everybody. Your scoring is so secondary. J Kidd was a crazy rebounder. He used to get tons of triple doubles before it was even in fashion. I mean, it just doesn't really exist anymore. I think, to answer your question, I feel like Rondo is so good, he probably would have found a home. But in today's NBA, if you can't score, period, I don't know if you can be on the floor. I mean, in a weird way, could you flip it and say, this is kind of a Davion Mitchell conversation as well, where it's Davion's great at defense. I don't know if Davion's as good of a defender as Rondo is a playmaker, but I think the bigger point and the bigger conversation around those two is, do you have to score to be a point guard today? Yeah.
By the time Rondo was done looking at the games that he played, he ended up being a 32% three-point shooter.
Which is probably better than I would have guessed. It's obviously not good, but...
Right. He had in 2021, he shot 40% from three-point range. And I'm looking when the Lakers won the whole thing in 2020. Yeah, he shot 32% when they won.
When did he shoot his season in Sacramento?
His season in Sacramento.
I kind of feel like he shot 38%.
36%.
Yeah, I feel like he had that season he had in Sacramento is one of the, honestly, most polarizing seasons I think I've ever experienced, especially during bad playoff years. I think it's truly split the people who feel like Rondo was great for the Kings that year versus people like me who feel like, he was on a really bad team and there was a lot of nights where a lot of stat stuffing was going on. Rondo would be passing up easy layups to literally get an assist, and he was just trying to get a bag. That was a situation where, kind of like where Malik Monk was at, where he signed with the Lakers as almost like a proving ground, and then he used that to kind of vault his career to another place. Because I think Frankie was a really big Rondo guy.
Is this right? He averaged 11 assists a game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's insane.
I'm telling you, he was a stat. Like when we talk about, guys who, might just be, looking at their numbers, like,
right.
Richard, you tell me, and that was the year in Sacramento.
That was the year in Sacramento.
You're telling me Rondo had 11 assists per game, and that team, I don't know if they won 35 games. Like, I just, that offense was terrible. That was George Karl's season, so it was about as free-flowing as it was going to get, but it was a lot of feeding Cuz, feeding Rudy, and not a lot of, like, Rajon Rondo is straight up, he would almost have too much control where it was he's orchestrating everything and not going to pass it until the shot is there.
Yeah, and that ties his career best.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he averaged he averaged the same exact thing, 11.7 assists in 2012 when he was an all-star with the Boston Celtics.
There you go.
You know what's insane as we talk about Davion Mitchell as well, and when it comes to shooting the basketball.
Yeah.
Rondo literally played during a change in the changing of the guard 100%. And changing of the game. Listen to this. His first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. His first 8 seasons in the league, he shot under 30% 7 of those seasons.
Under 30?
His rookie
30
year,
is you should not be shooting.
His rookie
period.
year, he shot 20% from 3.
Oh
now, we're now 1 year, he shot 31%. Now, in 2014, 2015, Chris, who was doing his thing in 2014, 2015?
Well, that's when Wardell kind of popped on the scene. I think that's the first Kerr season.
After that, he shoots 31%, right? And then he actually got moved. He ends at 25% for that season. He got moved a couple different places. In Dallas.
Then he shot
35%. After that, 2015, 2016, he never drops under 30% again. He goes 36%, 37%, 33%, 35%, 32%, 40%, 37%, 43%. 35%, then drops down towards the end of his career with the Lakers. He drops down to 26% and then ends with the last 21 games of his career with the Cleveland Cavaliers at 39% from 3. So he ends up at 32% three-point shooter, which begs the question, maybe is it a Rondo thing or just a thing in general? How much of shooting is learned versus just feel? Because that turnaround is insane.
I mean, it is significant, but it's I would say that shooting is kind of something you're born with. Mm-hmm. I think you have to be born. Of course, guys like Kawhi have definitely improved their jumper, and I mean Kawhi is the extreme case. I think Kawhi has ruined the model for so many guys who can't shoot. Everyone's like, look at Kawhi Leonard. If you could teach him how to shoot, you could teach anyone how to shoot. But I think that it just takes a certain level of touch, and that's speaking from somebody who has absolutely no touch. So I will tell you, you're just not born with it. Like, it's just something you either have or you don't. I've seen it doesn't matter size. Some big guys have the most feathery touch, and you have guys like Rajon Rondo who are 6'1", but I do think the big thing with Rondo is quite literally he has massive hands, which is what made him such a great playmaker. He could manipulate the ball wherever he wanted to go, but I think the fact that his hands were essentially like he was shooting a Nerf ball really affected how he shot.
Like Shaq.
Essentially, I mean, he really is like a guard Shaq in that sense. And if you look at his free throw numbers, they start to look a little bit like a guard Shaq. But it's funny that you mentioned those 3-point numbers too, because the guy that I always think about, which of course is Brook Lopez, when it comes to changing of the game. Looking at Brook Lopez's first 8 years of his career, he maxed out at 0.2 threes per game. The most threes that he took in the first 8 years of his career in Brooklyn, from 2008 through 2015-16, he took 14 threes in a season. In the 16-17 season, so the season after he only took 14 threes, he took 387. So he went from 0.2 threes per game to 5.2 threes per game. And ever since, the rest has been history. Brooks shot over 34% every year, except for 2 in his career. It's just crazy. I mean, that's right around the time, to your point, 13-14 is really when Steph pops up. By 16-17, Brooks shooting threes. I remember when DeMarcus made his big shift to shooting threes. It was literally like over the offseason, DeMarcus had been working on a shot. And it's like, okay, great. That's like hearing Sabonis is working on his three. Whoop-de-doo.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, DeMarcus is out here shooting 38% on like 4 threes a game. The game completely shifted. And it is weird to look at these guys who kind of played in this in-between period, and you either kind of sank or you swam, right?
Yeah,
you know?
You figured it out, and you got with it or got lost.
Yeah.
Real quick here, here's a good guess for you, since you brought up Rondo's free throw percentage.
Oh, my gosh.
What do you think his career free throw percentage was?
I would hope it's in the 60s. It wouldn't surprise me if it's high 50s. I'll just say 64% from the free throw line for Rondo,
64?
which is terrible. I feel like that's like, let me look up what like what did Ben Wallace shoot from the free throw line? Ben Wallace from the free throw line shot 41%. So that feels really terrible. Yeah, I'll stick with 63.
61%.
And here we are complaining about DeAaron and Sabonis. I mean, that's
it's a little different. See, there he goes again.
Yeah.
There he goes again. When we return, we ask the question, should Malik Monk still win Sixth Man of the Year? You know what our answer is going to be. Also, Brandon Ayuk had some things to say on Nightcap with Uncle Shay Shay. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The final game of the homestand concludes Tuesday as the Los Angeles Clippers pay a visit to Golden One Center and the Sacramento Kings.
Sabonis rolling in the paint, eludes the defender, and a two-hand flush is thrown down off the dribble.
Catch all the play-by-play starting at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Timeshare trap and think there's no way out. Well, Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has helped over 35,000 families out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares, and they may be able to help you too. If you were misled into signing a timeshare agreement that is a lifetime commitment, if you were told timeshare is a great investment or your maintenance fees will never go up, you need to get the facts about timeshare cancellation. For over 10 years, Wesley Financial Group has been dedicated to helping folks get out of a lifetime of debt by canceling their timeshares. So they created a timeshare exit information kit, which reveals how the timeshare industry works and what your options are for cancellation. Simply call Wesley right now and they will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free. See how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. Again, 800-761-0000.
For a precision-crafted performance, the decision is easy. A new Acura from Acura of Stockton. Get the driving experience you've been waiting for in a new Acura. Get the best selection and customer service you deserve from Acura of Stockton. Shop in person or use our online express store at AcuraofStockton.com. Acura of Stockton will buy your trade, even if you don't buy from us. Don't settle for less than precision-crafted performance of a new Acura from Acura of Stockton and AcuraofStockton.com.
With RT Painting, our name says it all. We are a reliable and trusted commercial and residential painting company serving the Sacramento area since 1998. Employee-owned, our attention to detail is second to none. Put our decades of experience serving our community to use for you. Get a free quote today. Call us at 916-900-8112. That's 916-900-8112. Or go online to rtpainting.com. That's rtpainting.com. RT Painting, your trusted and reliable painting contractor of choice.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters and a game and a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home, and the men who use PTO to catch afternoon basketball in March with the boys. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Hi, everyone. It's Emron Pilati, host of the True Sports Card Show here on Sactown Sports 1140 every Saturday at 10 a.m. Would you like a chance to meet Ricky Henderson, Dennis Rodman, Johnny Manziel, Randy Johnson, Frank Thomas, Vlad Guerrero Sr., Dave Stewart, and our favorite Malik Monk, and meet over 90 sports card dealers all in one weekend? This is your chance to do it on May 17th through the 19th at the Roseville Fairgrounds at the Sacramento Autograph Expo. You can get all the information about the show on our website at sacautograph.expo.com. That's sacautograph.expo.com.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber, down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside is Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from DeAaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports. Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
So somebody on the text line from the 916, shout out to the 916. Somebody on the text line, we've been going back and forth about this. And on the drive home, I listen to the Drive Guys,
That's right.
of course.
Everyone should.
And on the drive home, it sounded like Draper was on a different side than we were. And we can talk to him about in crosstalk. Won't be today because of the game, but the next time we have him, because we had the conversation about Sabonis and about everybody at least once a day, at least one person saying, got to get that mid-range. He has to get that mid-range. And I'm thinking, this man does so much for this team already.
Right.
It would be nice. I'm not saying it wouldn't be nice,
right.
But now we have the conversation about whether you have touch or whether you don't, whether it's learned or not. We say the same thing when we compare it to speed. Can you go from being a 4-5 guy to a 4-2 guy or whatever it is? So the 916 is saying, this is why I constantly tell people to stop waiting for Sabonis to learn the mid-range jumper or a hook shot. He just doesn't have that touch.
Yeah.
He shoots the three better because he's usually so wide open and gets to set his feet.
Yep.
That's from Chris.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's spot on, 100%. I mean, he's left wide open on threes. You could see it. I mean, not only is it he sets his feet, I think the really important thing for when he spots up like that is he can line his hands up with the ball.
He got all the time in the world.
You literally see him like it's all about where everything is perfect. And I think that's why he's been able to knock down those threes so much. And it's the other thing is I'm not saying, if you watch Sabonis in warmups, I'm not saying he can't hit mid-range jumpers or he's incapable of doing it, but there's a really, really, really big difference between, hey, I can do this in warmups or just like, whatever, we're shooting around versus I can do this in real time, in game action, in high stakes opportunities. Right. Fourth quarter, I'm left wide open for a mid-range jumper. I know I've put in the work to hit it. That is a completely different thing. And I don't really like, again, yeah, Sabonis has taken major, major leaps from three. I think it's a sign that there's potential he could knock it down, or maybe there's no hope that he can hit a mid-range jump shot. But just in terms of touch, I mean, we've seen how that floater looks. We've seen how Rashawn Holmes' floater looked. That little push shot looks a lot better, a lot more fluid, a lot more natural coming out of Rashawn Holmes' hands than Sabonis's, I'm gripping a grapefruit, let me kind of like shot put it at the rim. Like, that doesn't look natural. And I don't think, like maybe you can work on the touch of it and the rhythm and the muscle memory of it, and all that stuff would definitely be great. But in terms of, Sabonis could make this into something that's actually a weapon for him, it might take a couple years to develop something like that. And at that point, who knows what gets lost in his game. And I think when we asked Whitey this question yesterday, his answer was kind of like what you said. Is he supposed to do everything? He's not a perfect player. No, right. De'Aaron Fox isn't a perfect player. There's only a couple guys that even would remotely fit into what you could classify as a perfect player. Yeah, Sabonis is going to have his warts. He shouldn't have to do a little bit of everything.
What I'm saying. I'd rather have a conversation. Oh, can you imagine if Sabonis had a mid-range jump shot? I'd rather say, could you imagine if Keegan Murray continued his rise offensively?
Can you imagine if Keegan Murray could attack the rim?
Right.
That's a lot better of a conversation to me.
That's more of his job.
More productive. You know what happens if Keegan Murray attacks the rim? Not only does Keegan Murray start getting shots at the rim, people might condense. And what's the thing? Where's our bingo card for Mike Brown? Spray threes.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be? That's a whole lot better than Sabonis hitting 2 mid-range jump shots in a game.
Right. Yes. It just feels like grasping at straws here because
You're
how
just
many do you
trying to blame
want?
him. You're just
how many
trying
do
to
you
blame
want him to
Sabonis. That's
shoot?
it. Exactly.
How many do you want? This guy's
He
a
takes
double
three,
machine.
like a half three a game. You know, like it's every other game he takes a single three. What are we talking about with a mid range? Like
No.
to your point again, he's maybe going to take one, maybe two a game.
Yeah.
And is that making or breaking the Kings season?
I'd rather talk about a second-year player in Keegan Murray and what he can do to be better offensively. I'd rather talk about however many year player in Harrison Barnes and what he can do offensively.
Let's get better at free throws. Let's focus on that.
I'm good with that.
You know, yeah, that's cool. That's productive. I could see how that would really impact the game. Gets to the line 10 times a game.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if he makes 8 of them, that helps the team a lot more than hitting 1 or 2 mid-range jump shots.
Yeah. And I understand why people say it. And I think part of this is that it's so fresh on everybody's mind because of what happened.
Of course, the Looney thing.
Yes, with the Looney thing. But if you still look at what happened there and then look at how poorly Keegan shot at the beginning of that series,
And
along with
Herter.
Kevin Herter, we're not having a
HB,
conversation about Sabonis and his lack of mid-range jump shots.
Yeah, no, we're talking, because if Kevin Herter and Keegan hit those shots, they're not going to sag off Sabonis. They're going to attack. They're going to say, hey, we need to make sure Kevon Looney is up on that screen so that he can meet them on the other side of it. But no, since Kevin and Keegan missed all their shots, it was okay with just letting those guys shoot, and they just continually missed. And so that allowed Looney to take some steps back, and Sabonis wasn't as big of a factor in playmaking as what he was during the regular season. I don't think that's a Sabonis problem. Sure, he can help himself by hitting a couple free throws, by hitting free throws too, but a couple mid-ranges. But at the end of the day, like I think that he can improve other aspects of his game that would go a lot further in terms of helping these guys be better and be more of a dangerous team.
Yeah, and the bottom line is that he's just, again, there's not a perfect player. I remember, and speaking of the Warriors taking on the Mavericks tonight, I remember seeing a clip of Draymond at a camp, and he basically told these kids at a camp, he said, there's basically 1 or 2 guys on the floor per team that get to do whatever they want.
Right.
Everybody else has a job to do.
Role players
are essentially role players, maybe different levels, but role players. Looking at this lineup, you have a DeAaron Fox, and I wouldn't say Sabonis, right? I'd even say maybe next season, hopefully that person's Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
Right? But DeAaron is your guy. Maybe you have one more that kind of just is, all right, we're just doing whatever.
Probably
And
Malik.
Malik.
I mean,
and
it's probably Malik.
Everybody else is there to play a certain role. And when you look at who Sabonis is, he plays that role to the highest level.
Yes.
He's not one of those guys, the 1 to 2 guys that can do whatever he wants on the floor.
No, yeah. He's there to serve a purpose. And that's a great way of looking at it, is he is the world's best role player in the most complimentary way possible. Is he is there to make everything else work. And he understands that, sure, I could complain and say, why don't we post me up 10 times a game and let me go to work? But instead, he understands that this is just how this is going to be best, not for me, but for everybody. And yeah, it does pull me away from the paint where I'm probably most effective. But in the name of getting my other teammates involved, I'll figure the rest out, because it's just so much more important to have those other guys going than what Sabonis has. And that's a major, major sacrifice that I don't think is talked about enough. Like, you don't really see other centers pulling out and playing on the perimeter as much as Sabonis does. And he does that because he's trying to get open looks for his teammates, and he's not thinking about himself. So it's a bit unfair to try and, again, hold Sabonis to this. He is an all NBA player, but it's ridiculous to say he needs to be able to do everything out there, because I would push back and say, I think it's a lot more important for DeAaron to hit threes than Sabonis to hit mid ranges. He can't do it all.
Yeah. And I get why it is a bit confusing. And again, it's glaring because of what happened last season. But if you put it in perspective, Sabonis is doing plenty. He is doing. Thank you.
Come on.
He is
and
doing.
He's sending the physicality to that.
That's right. That's right. He sets the tone.
Yeah. Without them, I see somebody on Sack Chat calling this team soft. I would think without Sabonis, people probably would think this team is soft.
They would be a much more finesse.
Yeah.
That is for sure. Brandon Ayuk, he used a little bit of finesse while he was on the nightcap with Uncle Shay, as they call him, and I believe Ocho Cinco is on that show too. And real quick, if you've ever seen people do impressions of that show,
I'd never have.
They're hilarious.
Really?
They're hilarious. And here is Brandon Ayuk. He was talking about the contract extension and whether or not he's worried about the future of his time with the Niners.
They trying to get work done. That's all I can say. Y'all know how it gets. I don't even want to get too far into that. But you know, I'm just trying to get like what Ocho just said. I'm trying to get what I deserve. I felt like this season playing football, I figured out who I was as a person, as a player, what I bring to the table, what I bring to the locker room, what I bring to the organization, and just the value I hold when I walk in that building, because people gonna follow me because I've done it the right way since I've been in that building from the first day I walked in there to when I was in there earlier this morning. Done it the right way. So, and if they don't see it worth in that, that's all it is. That's all it is. It ain't nothing else besides that. But I can't, like I said, I can't get into it. We got professionals working on both sides, so hopefully we can come to a professional agreement and continue to play professional football.
For those of you who haven't seen the clip or the video of that, when he says if they're not there or something to that effect, he makes a walking sign with his fingers saying that he will walk. Now he's under contract, but Brandon Ayuk, to me, when I heard that clip, he's feeling himself a little bit.
He really is. Like, and especially at the end there, like, he did not say play for the 49ers once. He just said, like, I'm trying to get all this squared away so I can play professional football. Yeah. Like, to me, there's not a lot of specifically saying, like, hey, this organization drafted me, I love what I built here, none of that stuff, which, you know, I guess maybe from a negotiation standpoint, he shouldn't be saying, because that does give a little bit of leverage to the Niners. He's got to keep his side of the street as, I guess, as messy as possible, not necessarily as clean. It was definitely something there. Like him being as vocal as he has been, which also credit to him. I think a lot of people would be afraid. I mean, not that he's going out there and releasing all the tea, but he's been really forward about what he wants. And I think ultimately it's going to get him what he wants. And I guess we'll just figure out what it is truly. What is he aiming for here? Is he aiming for respect and for money, or is he aiming to truly just get out of there?
And if not, I'm doing finger walking as well. All right, when we return, Malik Monk, should he still win Sixth Man of the Year? Also, we see you on the line, Ashley, still talking Sabonis. Does he have to? What do you guys want him to do, huh? He needs a mid-range. He's got to do the dishes.
He's got to start drawing up some plays,
you want him serving popcorn during the games, too?
I noticed some jerseys were pretty dirty.
There you go. You want him to do the laundry,
too? Can he light the beam, too?
Can you light the beam?
Literally go upstairs and
every time. Come on now. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Subscribe to Sactown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus, view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sactown Sports.
Now, during Staples Print Big Sale, get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. So the more you print at Staples, the more you save. To demonstrate, print at Staples, you save. But if you print at Staples, you save. See how that works? Staples Print Big Sale. Print more, save more. Up to $100. Ends 4/6. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6580. That's 800-583-6580.
Join Alan Stiles, Chris Watkins, and the Sactown Sports Street Team on Monday, April 8th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Fieldhouse American Sports Pub for some basketball madness and their mouth-watering full menu. 1310 Fulton Avenue. See you there.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
From a mid-rock on the Sac Chat, Sabonis needs to wipe the sweat off the floor.
I guess, man. I mean, he puts it there, so, I guess he should clean it too. And then, maybe he should also run over and take Scott Moak's mic and say, coming in is number 15, Davion Mitchell. Like, you should just do it all.
It's crazy because I do understand. I understand why people – it's not even that I think it's a crazy statement. You always want to improve your game, right?
Yeah.
It just comes up too much to me.
Yeah.
I think other things should come up before it. I'm not saying it would be nice. And maybe it's somewhere on the priority list, but as far as the Kings getting better, but it's not that high. I got about 5 things ahead of that before Sabonis and his mid-range jump shots and willingness to shoot.
I thought the mid-range was dead. Also, I was told that the mid-range game was dead. So,
yeah.
I'm okay if he continues to work on his 3-point game. I think that there is value in stretching the floor that much. But in terms of mid-range, like mid-range shots are pretty exclusive for guys like De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk and, Kawhi Leonard. And you sensing a theme here. Like the best scorers in the NBA score from the mid-range really only in isolation. The only time Sabonis is ever going to take a mid-range jump shot is if it's just a situation where it's a 3 but closer, and I mean that to say, like, if he's left quite literally wide open and he has time to set everything, then sure, he can take mid-range jump shots, but there will never be a situation in which Domantas Sabonis is just going to straight up size somebody up, go between his legs, and then pull up for a mid-range shot. Maybe you can say he needs to work on his post turnarounds, which I would be willing to listen to. He's short-armed quite a bit of those, but in terms of just a straight-up, stand-up, face-up mid-range game, I just don't think that there's much of a place for that in the NBA today unless you're Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and Anthony Davis is not a center.
And he's not.
According to him, he is not a center. Let's get to Ashley, who wants to be a part of the conversation, 916-339-1140. What's up, Ashley? What you got for us?
So, as far as Sabonis goes, I honestly, that's so low on the laundry list of things we need to get done. I actually got a hot take, though, and that the Kings are right where we want to be in the sense that we're right in the thick of that fight for the playoffs, And right now, we're kind of going out and hunting teams, We're kind of in a way the hunted of the playoffs, and I think that's good because it puts the Kings in a state of mind of being ready to play and getting up for the game. But not only that, we have the rest advantage tonight against the Clippers. Kawhi's out, so in terms of injuries, all that, they're missing guys too. And I think that we're just in a really great spot. They play, not only that, the Pelicans play the Magic tomorrow. That's going to be a tough game. If we can take care of tonight and against the Knicks, we're going to be in a really great spot.
Thanks for the call, as always, Ashley. Yeah, it's definitely a more comfortable spot for the Kings, right? I mean, I think last season was such a whirlwind of just good vibes and no injuries, and this was the year where they were going to have some expectations. They did have some expectations heading into the season. Nobody saw the Thunder doing this. Nobody knew what to do with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So those 2 spots, when we had this conversation, I think I had the Timberwolves in the top 3, but I did not have the Thunder in the top 3. So the Thunder come in, they take a spot. The Timberwolves, they take a spot. Obviously, we knew the Nuggets were going to be there. It was a matter of where were the Kings going to fall. And honestly, a lot of these people nationally, they want to have it both ways, right? And they want to say that the Kings didn't reach expectations, but at the same time, well, I thought you said last season was a fluke,
right?
Because of the injuries. So you can't have it both ways. And to Ashley's point, now with really the overused sports term of house money thing, it is true right now. It's house money in that, you're missing one of your top 3 scoring options, and it's going to be really hard to have a deep run outside of that. But you're not playing with house money because you still got DeAaron Fox and you still got Domantas Sabonis. And if you do want respect, you can't just lay down.
Yeah, I mean, those two guys, more than anybody, I mean, we clamor for that. Why weren't they all-stars? Why aren't they all? Well, now is a great stage and a great opportunity. Like you said, I mean, view this time as an opportunity. Now is, you can forget everything. You're in the situation you're in right now. We can harp on how you got here all you want, but the fact remains that there is a clear opportunity in front of you to really show something. Sabonis, you can quiet a lot of people who we all know, though that's been a very, very loud portion of people that have criticized Sabonis. But De'Aaron Fox, he's got a lot of questions to answer. And I think, this is a great opportunity to step up and show, Shea had a great season. No shade at anything OKC did, but De'Aaron Fox is at that level. And this is an opportunity to show my team just hasn't needed me to really put the team on my back.
Yeah.
Now they do. And here's what it looks like when that's the case. Again, it's not a month. It's not 2 months. It's not an entire season that they have to do this. We're talking 8 games. So if you can't put together 8 games of looking like you guys have 2 all-NBA caliber players, then I don't know. Again, that's where we might need to come summer have a conversation about what truly is what we have versus what we might have thought we had. But I think that this is a great opportunity for these guys to show out. There's nothing but clear runway in front of them. There's nothing stopping them except for themselves. I think that they're both more than able to take this opportunity and run with it. But man, I mean, with how this season has gone so far, it wouldn't surprise me if expectations aren't met yet again. And maybe they do still continue to look inconsistent. And it is a night-to-night basis. I feel like they're past that. I think at this point, you have to feel the pressure if you're those two. But, we'll just have to see tonight, man. Today is definitely a really big game just for getting things in the right direction.
With Malik Monk being out and Kevin Huerter being out, do you still expect them to make the playoffs? The playoffs, not the play-in, the playoffs.
Expect probably not, but
do you think they should?
Probably not. But I'm not saying they won't.
Sure.
I wouldn't surprise. Like, I think it's like a 55-45 kind of thing.
Basically, missing Kevin Huerter and Malik Monk is enough to make you feel like, all right, that's a lot. That's a little bit too much to overcome.
And I'm not saying obviously fall out of the 10, but in that
no. I'm saying they don't get it. They get into the play-in. They either lose 2 games as a 7 or 8 seed, or they lose 1 game as a 9 or 10.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say that the odds probably say not, and a lot of that is to the quality, like playing Phoenix and then having to play LA, Golden State, or Houston. Those guys are no scrubs, and a lot of those teams are a lot more healthy than you are at this point in the season. So I think it's a good excuse. But again, like, I'm not saying it's a definite. It's just the cards that if everyone's looking at their hand right now and it's a game of poker, I don't think the Kings have the best hand of everybody at the table.
Yeah. It stinks simply because the whole season comes down to this.
It does.
It's just terrible timing.
100%.
Terrible timing. But even if you're Vivek, right, in his mind, is he thinking, all right, get into the play-in. Hopefully we get a home play-in game, and we got a lot of work to do this summer.
Yeah. I mean, that was, I mean, things can, the season, there's a lot that's riding on this end of the season because, just the way that we feel about this team in the immediate and also in the long term, a lot of things will be determined by these next 8 games. And it's super unfortunate that the Kings have put themselves in this kind of situation to where, they haven't given themselves any leeway. They don't have any games to play with at this point in the season. They're already in a worse position than what anybody would have wanted them to be in. I mean, there's definitely a good shot that things, I would say there's, like I said, I think there's probably like a 55% chance that this thing doesn't go how everyone wants it to go. But saying that, you still, like you said, you still have Fox and Sabonis. You still have things there that you can get it done with. And just because the odds are stacked against you doesn't mean you can't do it. You can go out there and you can, I don't want to say shock the world because you're shocking the world to get an 8 seed or a 7 seed, but you can really do what no one is expecting you to do. And, I do think that still would mean something. If the Kings go 5-3 the rest of the way, I think that's good enough to maybe tell people like, hey, we thought this Kings team was down and out, but Fox and Sabonis, those are 2 guys that you're going to have to deal with. And that's not going to be an easy out, but it's all up to them and how they carry themselves the rest of this way. But again, it starts tonight.
5-3.
5-3.
You get to 5-3, and you probably have a good enough amount of momentum to get out of the plan. That's how I feel.
I would think so.
5-3. You give yourself 2 chances.
That's 7-8. Yeah, you have to land in that 7-8.
And if 5-3 probably gets you to 7, then you get 2 home games.
Yes, that'd be huge. That would be
2 home
huge.
games, and
that's the optimistic
from the
best case.
From ownership, that would be nice too.
That would be very nice.
That would be very nice too.
Very nice. 2 extra games.
Continuing and then if you do win that second one and you get into playoffs, then you get those
2
games.
more.
Then you get 2 more.
4 playoff games.
Continuing the Kings conversation.
Budget.
Oh yes. A lot of ribeye coming at you after that. Stiles and Watkins, when we return, we get the injury report. We also talk Malik Monk. Does he still deserve to win 6th Man of the Year? Then 145, prop talk, and dog segment. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The final game of the homestand concludes Tuesday as the Los Angeles Clippers pay a visit to Golden One Center and the Sacramento Kings.
It's fourth quarter Fox time. He's doubled, throws a pass cross court to Keegan, steps to his left, launches a 3. He's got the triple. It's the 4th one from downtown in 5 attempts by Keegan Murray. And the Kings have tied it at 101.
Catch all the play-by-play starting at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Jiffy Lube has a special promotion going on right now. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change at Jiffy Lube and receive a $25 e-gift card from popular brands for food, gas, and more. It's that easy. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change and receive a $25 e-gift card. So basically, going to Jiffy Lube can get you a free lunch or a pizza for dinner. That's what we call added value for the consumer. That's why Jiffy Lube is #1 in the greater Sacramento area for oil changes. Visit jiffylube.com for more details and valuable coupons today.
I'm Craig Ashton of the injury law firm of Ashton and Price. Whether you've been injured on a bicycle, as a pedestrian in a slip and fall, auto, Uber, Lyft, or big rig accident, you need Ashton and Price in your corner. When you call Ashton and Price, there's no chatbot telling you to hit 3 for accounting. You're greeted by a real live person who will immediately transfer you to an experienced attorney. The consultation's free, and there's never a fee until you win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find: happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Dirty Heads, live in concert.
Every single day.
Friday, April 12th, 7:30 p.m. The venue at Thunder Valley.
Say I'm crazy, but I have a
special guest, The Elevators.
good to me so far.
On sale at ThunderValleyResort.com.
Excuse me, I've been so long, I've been weak.
Don't miss Dirty Heads Live.
Rescue me.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jake Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Fidium Fiber, Dawson Oil Company, and Good Guys Heating and Cooling.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Everywhere you look, someone is always telling you how to get more fit. While we may feel like we're fit, we can all get fitter. Maybe you have a favorite pair of jeans that don't fit anymore, or maybe you just want to lower your blood pressure a bit. Here are a few suggestions. Walk more rounds, walk to work, walk to the store, walk the dog, but walk. Strengthening the most important muscles in the golf swing, your glutes. Even Tiger couldn't fire his. Buy a foam roller and knead the muscles of your body 3 times a week, especially your hips. You can do this while you watch television. Eat more vegetables, and potato chips and carrot cake don't count. Stabilize the muscles of your core by raking leaves or sweeping floors, and eliminate soda, especially the ones with artificial sweeteners. Maybe you'll be able to take a little bigger turn. Maybe you won't get tired around the 15th hole. Either way, you're going to be much happier with yourself. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
This segment is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville. Check them out at kiavacaville.com.
Now you can really hear a thunderous Light the Beam chant. This is by far the loudest Light the Beam chant that we've heard on the road at any time since the beam was initiated in Sacramento. Ecstatic. Final score in Los Angeles, 123-107.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
A little bit of the A's drama on the court, on the field, and something is going on where Esteury Ruiz, who was balling, right?
And on my fantasy baseball team.
To be fair, only 7 at-bats, but this past weekend or this past series, he had 429, right? So he played very well, and as you know, the A's, I don't know if they won a game? Or I think they won a game because of him.
Yes, yeah.
I think he helped in that win.
Oh my gosh.
So all of a sudden,
what are you doing?
So all of a sudden, he gets demoted now back to AAA on a team that is not very good. And there is essentially a rumor or feeling that a theory that it was because he was repping with a wristband Last Dive Bar, which is a bar that is not cool with the A's. They're A's fans, but it's been very contentious, right? So this is from Big Bob's Cards. Here's a hilarious MLB conspiracy theory for you. Last Dive Bar is an online store that describes itself as a premier online store for unique and stylish apparel that celebrates the iconic Oakland Coliseum. Go to the website and you'll see that their apparel seems to have a central theme. Their homepage features shirts and hoodies that read boycott and sell the team. There's also a shirt depicting A's owner John Fisher playing with the puppet that resembles A's president Dave Kaval. Last Dive Bar hosts yearly Fans Fest that is openly anti-ownership. And if you remember from when was that? About a month ago, or maybe a little bit longer than that, there was the issue with the A's getting the sponsors to pull out of that, so there were no beverages there. Now, back to Big Bob's Cards. Now, the fun part, their Twitter account tweeted a picture of 4 A's players wearing their wristbands. And here are the players. Esteury Ruiz was demoted. Brent Rooker was benched.
They're all-star last year, by the way.
Yes. Christian Pache was traded, and James Caprillion was released. Chris, you know I love conspiracy theories. Are you buying this?
It's tough not to. I mean, at the very least, we know that the A's aren't trying to win games, and the fact that they, demote Esteury Ruiz, who had 60+ stolen bases last year,
he can fly,
is probably, if you are at all caring about going to the A's games and hoping for some excitement from the A's side,
it's literally major league.
He's probably going to provide the minimal amount of excitement that you might get from the A's. So it's I would say it's definitely not a coincidence that this is somebody who's played well and is sitting. I think it's interesting that Brett Rooker, again, who is their all-star from last year, is also benched this year. Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. Not that I'm following the A's, super, super closely in terms of their day-to-day movement, but doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. I'm going to buy it. I'm definitely going to buy it because this organization has done a lot worse, and I would not put this beneath them. This definitely feels like something that they would do to try and prove a message and say, hey, we see this stuff and we still are in charge. And if you're going to actively be against us, well, then we're going to affect your career, which is totally like a great way to handle your business, right?
I don't want to believe this.
Oh, again, I'm not following the A's every single day, their ins and outs of, and from what I understand too, there's a little bit of controversy because I guess Mark Kotsay went on or didn't go on, but had his press conference after and was asked about it and essentially said, he really was only up with the team because we had some injuries and XYZ. So maybe that is true. But at the same time, this is somebody who was a big member of your ball club the entirety of last year. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to option him down to AAA and kind of do it. I think Kotsay essentially was trying to frame it in the sense of, we want you to go down there and dominate. We know that you're a good player. This is just to kind of keep you in form. And, again, your win plus minus is 62 games or whatever. Like, I don't really think you should be playing with the couple guys who actually make sense to be on an MLB roster.
I don't get that.
It doesn't make sense. I mean, you're supposed to be the baseball guy. You tell me what is going on.
Well,
it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And again, it almost feels like that movie Major League, where they're literally doing everything they can to make sure that A's fans do not have an enjoyable experience. Yeah. I don't understand that. And the reasoning behind it, guys go up and guys go down. We get all that. But when you're looking at this lineup and it's a bunch of dudes that you haven't really heard of besides JD Davis, in the one win that the A's have in that game, Esteury Ruiz was 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored.
Oh,
and they won by 1 run.
Being so productive.
They won 4-3.
How many runs do the A's have this year?
When is the next time the A's are going to be in the news? And by the way, I think that, what was it last year with all the errors that they committed?
Oh, I was going to say,
or yesterday.
I just saw a tweet that said the A's have 13 errors already this season.
The A's have
How many games have they played?
Yeah, this is from Brody Brazil. The A's have made more errors, 13, than they've scored runs, 11, through 5 games.
There we go. And you know what? I will say, I've had plenty of conversation with many A's fans who live in Sacramento and who live in Oakland or have lived in Oakland. And that's a really big counterpoint that they have thrown at me for this whole situation is, Sacramento, do you really want the A's? Like, I know it's still a Major League Baseball team, but this is not going to be fun to watch. You will go exclusively for the overall experience and for the other team. So, when this whole, process comes out, the initial headline of Sacramento gets a Major League Baseball team might sound like a really awesome thing, but I don't think these kind of things are going to change in the next 3 years. I don't think that they're going to build towards something before they go to Vegas. I would imagine that at least for 2 of these next couple of years, this is going to be pretty much what the standard is for this team. I don't think there's going to be some major turnaround. Also, to add to the conspiracy, my friends who are A's fans sent this to me yesterday. Apparently, who they brought up when they optioned Esteury Ruiz was Tyler Nevin, whose dad, Phil, played with Mark Kotsay in San Diego. So just to kind of add
but that makes stuff like that happens all the time.
Yes, exactly.
Right. We see dudes get drafted. Here's what's crazy. To your point, you know how many games Esteury Ruiz played in the big leagues last season?
I would imagine like 100.
132. 132 games.
So he was good enough for all that, but you just can't find a spot. Can't find a spot for a guy who steals 65 plus bases.
He's so Housewives coded. I just know it.
As as my mom always used to say, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Exactly.
916-339-1140. Let's get out to Garrett. Wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Garrett? What you got for us?
Oh man, I've been an A's fan my entire life. I'm 37 years old, and this is the biggest joke that this franchise has been these last couple years. John Fisher is such a terrible owner. This 100% was a call from the owner. Hey, let's send this guy down because he's repping this bracelet or wristband, whatever it is. Brent Rooker sitting, Estuary Ruiz being sent down. Absolute garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a slap in the face to a loyal fan base. It pisses me off that the A's keep doing this, and the fact that Mark Kotsay is still the manager. I mean, blows my mind. Their pitching coach, I can't remember his name right now for the life of me. I can't stand him. He looks like Carmichael Dave, which is hilarious.
I understand why you couldn't stand him then. Makes sense.
But I cannot. He is the worst pitching coach in the history of the MLB. He never made it past, I think, Double-A baseball.
Scott Emerson?
Scott Emerson, yes. God, I cannot stand him. Biggest joke. Ever since he's been there, our pitching has been a joke. This whole team needs to just be wiped. Sorry, not team. Front office, management, the owner needs to sell. Oh man. I could go on, but I'll take your comments out there.
No, thanks for the call, Garrett. And Chris is looking up Scott Emerson, and Chris is cracking up.
Tell me this is not Carmichael Dave. That's Carmichael. That is a side profile of Carmichael Dave right there.
I wonder if he's ever heard that before.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have found we've got him. We've got him. Scott Emerson, Carmichael Dave.
That's why he's so in the loop on everything going on. It makes so much sense now.
We've gotten to the bottom of it. We've figured it out.
Garrett, really feel for you and all the A's fans out there. It doesn't make any sense. And again, they're actively, it's almost like they're trying to get rid of all the old fans to get new fans in 3 years, but that's just not how that works. And I don't know, as far as brands are concerned, this is a terrible brand. And if you continue to damage it, by the time you get to Vegas, if you go to Vegas, nobody's going to want anything to do with you. And you were going to fight so hard to keep that A's logo. You didn't want to give it up and give Oakland the rights to it, but you're going to fight so hard to keep it and then go to Vegas, and it's going to be tainted. It's already tainted. So it makes absolutely no sense. When we return, Prop Talk and Dog segment. Let's get that free cheese. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
I love this time of year when the azaleas begin to bloom and the singing birds' sweet dawn chorus remind us that blue skies and sunshine are at hand. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. In sports, the definition for the word master is one who's achieved a high degree of skill, and that will be on display in the highly anticipated golf tournament. In the furniture business, a master is a highly skilled craftsman, an artist even, whose work is coveted by those who appreciate design, quality, and durability. John Keys was the mastermind of Naturewood Home Furnishings. He knew that you wanted your home to reflect your personal style, whether that was a plain coffee table or a masterpiece for you to enjoy forever. That's why when you walk into Naturewood Home Furnishings, you'll find the largest and best selection of the highest quality home furnishings in Northern California. Masterful. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
With RT Painting, our name says it all. We are a reliable and trusted commercial and residential painting company serving the Sacramento area since 1998. Employee-owned, our attention to detail is second to none. Put our decades of experience serving our community to use for you. Get a free quote today. Call us at 916-900-8112. That's 916-900-8112. Or go online to rtpainting.com. That's rtpainting.com. RT Painting, your trusted and reliable painting contractor of choice. Dr. Ken Howachek and kinesiologist Kelsey Graham discuss the Good Feet store.
The foot has a lot of detail. It has a lot of complexity. There's a lot that can go wrong. A lot of problems start in the foot and end up elsewhere. Knee pain, hip pain, back pain. When aligning the feet properly, we can see relief elsewhere. And that's the beauty of the Good Feet Arch support. It can place the feet into their ideal position and gives them the balance, the support, the comfort, and the relief of the pain. The bottom line is that the Good Feet Arch support can be a highly effective pain relief solution when nothing else has worked.
The feet have a really big impact on how the rest of the body moves. The knees, the hips, the lower back especially. If the foot isn't properly aligned, all of these joints are going to function incorrectly. That results in a lot of muscle tension and chronic pain. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that the right arch supports can put the foot in its proper alignment. So all the joints up the rest of the body will be aligned properly as well. And when the body's aligned, we can reduce the risk of injury and chronic pain.
Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Modesto, Stockton, and Vacaville for a free fitting and test walk. Thinking of remodeling your home? Say goodbye to endless internet searches and visit Subcontractors United. Find a list of 3 pre-qualified and licensed contractors in each home service category. From cabinets to landscapers and everything in between, Subcontractors United makes finding qualified contractors free and easy, with no accounts to set up. Visit subcontractorsunited.com and experience the joy of stress-free home improvement. Save time and money at subcontractorsunited.com.
Capital Casino has been serving the greater Sacramento area in the same convenient downtown location for over 20 years, with plenty of close-by, well-lit parking monitored by security staff and offering the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Best food, best service, and the best action. That's Capital Casino. For more information on tournaments and gaming, check out their website at capital-casino.com. And please remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Right now, Maida Chevy saves you $8,000 off MSRP on new 2024 half-ton Silverado LT Crew Cab 4-wheel drives after rebate. It's a Maida Chevy exclusive.
See dealer for details. Ends 4/30/24.
See all the savings at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Simone, what did you think, Simone? Did you hear the Beyonce
Of course.
country album?
I was actually out on Friday. I don't know if you
You
happened
were
to
in these
notice.
streets? Simone was in these
May have
streets.
had some corresponding time off. No, I'm just
Wow.
kidding, but
Cowboy Carter, you were into it or
it
what?
was amazing. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
He's
I
gonna
know.
be reclaiming all of these different genres of music, and I can't wait.
But don't forget, this is not a country album. This is Beyonce over.
Beyonce album.
Yes, it's a Beyonce album. Chris, have you heard yet?
I have not. I've only heard the single that came out.
This Ain't Texas.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the single, but I'm sure the album's going to be fire.
It's
as
all
always.
yeah. It's there. It's very. It's different, but also the bones are still Beyonce.
Now, what is
because
this you said about this isn't a country album? This is Beyonce doing country. Is that what she
I think
said?
the term was this is not a country album. This is a Beyonce album.
That's her line.
With, I guess, country roots.
That makes me feel like that's big, like Drake when he dropped, I think, More Life. He was like, this isn't an album, it's a playlist.
It's a playlist.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it was perfect because, we went back to the East Bay for Easter. So we had about an hour and a half to just, to just play the whole thing through. All right. Well, sounds like that one is a winner. And hopefully we pick some winners tonight.
Hopefully.
It's time for Prop Talk. Chris is nervous today.
I'm so nervous.
You got to change your energy. Not about the game or about your prop.
I feel like it's more about my prop. Like I just kind of took a glance at all the props and
No, they're not great.
None of them are,
Basically, with Malik Monk out, everyone has been...
Everybody's do better.
Everybody has been boosted up a little bit. And, it's a bit worrisome.
Yeah. I was hoping, maybe there'd be some Trey Lyles thing in there, maybe a Duarte sprinkled in there, maybe a Harrison Barnes high fives or something with his teammate award.
Well, I'm going to change up the swag now.
Do it.
And I'm going to go with a number that you said coincides with a lot of the Kings' success.
Okay.
DeAaron Fox, 6.5 assists.
Ooh, that's a great one.
You said 7.
Yes,
you
7.
said when they get to 7, they do well.
They've
so
only
I'm
lost
going
3 games.
DeAaron Fox over 6.5 assists.
Wow.
Ooh, my prop is also going to be incorporating some of those Frankie facts that we were utilizing.
Nice.
I believe that sweet number was 35, if
Yes,
I'm not mistaken.
35%.
So, with that, I haven't gotten to speak about Trey Lyles in a long time.
Come on
He's
now.
sitting at 1.5, so give me that over. He's going to be making 3 threes tonight.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay, Trey Lyles.
I don't even see Trey on mine. Good for you.
3 points. And we've got the over 1.5. The number that I settled on, I think I'm going to do the Sabonis over 8.5 assists. And the Sabonis numbers are just broken. I think the numbers were 19, 13.5, and 8.5. We've talked about how Zubac does kind of give him problems, but I'm taking Mike Brown's words the other day to heart. And I think that the biggest way that they're going to try and massage dunk minutes that aren't going to be there is just Sabonis essentially creating himself and finding guys. And when DeAaron isn't out there, just heavily leaning on that Sabonis dribble handoff. I'm hoping that leads to a couple more assists. And we've seen a couple 9-10 assist games from Sabonis this season. So I'm going to cross my fingers, but I'm going to say Sabonis gets 9 or more assists tonight.
9 or more.
Which would be quite something if De'Aaron's going to get 7.
That's what I'm saying. So who's going to
to
score? Can someone take Keegan over there?
There's
Can
somebody.
somebody?
It's going to be like Mike.
Just a hot potato.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also
Okay.
selfless.
All right. Ready to rock and roll then. Let's get it. Dog segment.
Doggy dog. Where are my dogs at? Come on. I think I'm gonna as well hop on this De'Aaron Fox train, and I'm gonna pick De'Aaron, and I do really like that assist number. Again, looking at it here, Kings are 20-3 this season when De'Aaron Fox has 7 or more assists. 20-3. That seems like a really, really good number to try and hit. I think De'Aaron's gonna. I think he's just gonna do it all tonight. I think he's gonna have 20, whatever. I think his line is 26.5.
Yes.
I think he goes over on everything. I'm expecting a monster performance from De'Aaron Fox tonight.
Okay. We have a mid-rock on the Sack Chat. The bench mob is my dog. Next man up mentality.
We could use it. They struggled last game.
From Curtis Hicks. Davion is my dog. Feel you on that. From Manny Too Legit with Trey Lyles and Sasha back. I still have a good feeling we can make it to the 6th seed. See, this is the energy. This is the energy that we need. Simone, who's your dog?
Please let me adopt that Keegan
Murray. There you go. I would love to pick Keegan.
I would love to.
Keegan burned me a couple times.
Yes.
But
at least Kevin's no longer an option for you.
I can't mess up Kevin anymore. And I'm gonna copy Curtis Hicks and also say Davion Mitchell.
Ooh.
I think Davion has really figured something out with his shot. He's shooting with a lot of confidence. And we show up to the games pretty early to watch the guys and to get the vibe of the arena, and also Mike Brown's pregame presser. And the way the timing always lines up is Davion is basically doing his shoot around as I arrive, and it's butter, man. And he's working his tail off, and hopefully he can continue to see the fruits of his labor. Keon is in there around that time as well. So I'm going Davion Mitchell. And as far as just a full on prediction for tonight, which we premiere sometimes, and a day like today, a night like tonight, you need it. I think the Kings take care of business and they get this one done, man. I think they get to
Beautiful.
About the one, to your point, Chris, missing some of that offensive firepower. I think it's about keeping the Clippers at bay. And I'm thinking, maybe you're looking at a 111 to 108 or something like that.
Okay.
Something like that. Something light.
Low scoring. Okay.
There you go. All right, and there we go. It's time to go. Thank you for listening to Stiles and Watkins. Thank you to all the callers that we had. Thank you to Simone, as always. Thank you to La Murray from The Athletic covering the Clippers. And up next, you have the Drive Guys with Whitey Gleason and Kyle Draper. Until tomorrow, secure the bag, light the Clippers beam.